Chapter 548. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow felt helpless. The two girls were very open in front of him and dared to say anything. Love go little say, chew. After taking a bath, the three of them laid on the bed and rested for a while. After dawn, Night Sorrow woke up and began to cultivate his spear art. However, the two girls were still cultivating. Being together with Night Sorrow was very beneficial to them. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, Aoi went to the Medicine Valley's library to look for ancient books and then went to the Merit Hall to look for materials. After Night Sorrow cultivated for a while, the two girls came out. Although they had been busy for an entire night, their faces were rosy and slightly lazy. There was a different kind of beauty to them. You two are up. Why don't you sleep a little longer? Night Sorrow looked at the two girls and asked. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, we are cultivating the harmonization technique, which is beneficial to us. You should be fine, right? You should rest more. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. I'm fine. I don't have any problems. Night Sorrow said as he put away his reincarnation spear. The three of them didn't go anywhere today. They stayed at the bamboo forest peak to rest and cultivate. After staying at Taishian Peak for 3 days, Night Sorrow didn't go to Danding Cliff and directly left. Love go little say, Chu Aoi gave Night Sorrow 7 jars of wine. However, she told Night Sorrow that they could only be drunk after half a year. They were extremely effective Longyang wine. The three of them were about to leave. The others were reluctant, but they didn't ask them to stay. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow's world was outside and he had a certain foundation. He couldn't stay in the Medicine Valley. Gong Xian led the people from Taishian Peak to send off Night Sorrow and agreed to visit Dongxian City when they had the time. Only then did Night Sorrow and the other two leave on their mounts. Sikong Chuyu's Fire Phoenix was slightly slower. Sikong Chuyu put away his mount and rode on a Tianyu with Night Sorrow towards Danding City. After half an hour, Night Sorrow rode on Tianyu and Yang Lei's dark-feathered eagle and arrived at Danding City's teleportation array. After bowing to the Golden Flame Palace, the three of them took the teleportation formation and teleported to Danding City. Then, they rode their mounts back to Tranquility Cottage. After returning to the Qingshin cottage, Night Sorrow greeted the two girls and went into seclusion. He wanted to refine the Desolate Stone and strengthen his power of Desolates. The power of Desolates was definitely a method for the weak to defeat the strong. Night Sorrow had to cultivate it because there were too many people who wanted to kill him. He had to have some self-defense methods. Although the two girls wanted to accompany Night Sorrow, they knew that without strength, it would be very dangerous. Therefore, they could only support Night Sorrow. After entering the secret cultivation room, Night Sorrow first communicated with Shao Kong and used the time-space treasure pagoda to help him cultivate. Then, he held the Desolate Stone with both hands and started cultivating. As Night Sorrow touched the Desolate Stone with his power of Desolates, the energy in the Desolate Stone flowed through Night Sorrow's arm and into his body. Refining the power of Desolates in the Desolate Stone was much easier than refining the power of Desolates in the Great Desolate Pool back then. As he grew, Night Sorrow's state of mind continued to strengthen. He was also able to sit still. This time, Night Sorrow used half a month's time for his seclusion. The reason he stopped cultivating was because the Desolate Stone in Night Sorrow's hand no longer had any energy. It had already turned into a gray-white stone. After feeling it, Night Sorrow was very satisfied with his harvest in this half a month. His soul force and true qi had increased by quite a bit. In addition, the power of Desolates had increased by more than 2 times. After stretching his waist, Night Sorrow walked out of the secret cultivation room. He planned to take a stroll around before going back to cultivate. After leaving the secret cultivation room, Night Sorrow saw the two girls sitting opposite each other and practicing carving. They did not notice Night Sorrow's arrival. It could be seen that they were very focused. They only noticed Night Sorrow after they finished carving. How was the effect? Night Sorrow sat down and asked. It's almost done. Now that our soul force can cultivate on its own, we just need to consolidate it. Sikong Chuyu handed the jade carving in his hand to Yang Lei. Yang Lei also gave Sikong Chuyu one. This time, the two of them did not shatter the jade carvings. They both gave the jade carvings to Night Sorrow. We will not practice carving in the future. Although we are not at the Grandmaster level, we are still at the Master level. Yang Lei said. Being able to cultivate on its own is enough. This proves that we have a foundation. How are the others? Night Sorrow asked. They are all good. A few days ago, Xueling came and said that he was looking for you and wanted to give you some materials. Yang Lei said. Just as Yang Lei was speaking, Xueling came again and took out a pile of alchemy materials. Xueling, what are you doing? What kind of elixir do you want? Just tell me, Night Sorrow said. I am not here to ask you to make elixirs. These are the materials we got before. Now that we have cultivation resources, Wuyo, I am giving them to you. Xueling said. Then I will continue to make elixirs. If you need any elixirs, come to me. Night Sorrow understood the reason and did not refuse. Well, we have a manager. Xueling smiled and was about to leave. Night Sorrow found a 7-leaf herb in the pile of materials. He took it out and asked Xueling, wait a minute. Where did you get this herb? I don't know. Maybe someone saw that it contained spiritual qi and collected it. I don't know who collected it, Xueling said. Take this herb and ask our brothers who collected it and where it was collected. I need this herb, said Yishang. Okay, I will ask. Xueling took the 7-leaf herb and left. Night Sorrow, what kind of herb is that? Why do you care so much about it? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. It is the spirit black grass, one of the 3 most important materials for the dragon spirit elixir. If we can find its source and get the blue sparrow grass, we can make the dragon spirit elixir, Night Sorrow said. What kind of elixir is the dragon spirit elixir? Sikong Chuyu asked. I know. It is a level 6 Great Heaven Realm elixir. It is the elixir that can raise a venerable's cultivation by 1 level. I have never heard of anyone refining it, Yang Lei said. She was from the Medicine Valley, so she knew a lot about elixirs. An elixir that can raise a venerable's cultivation by 1 level? Isn't that too incredible? Sikong Chuyu was shocked when he heard Yang Lei's words. A level 4 profound meditation elixir that could raise a level 6 cultivator's cultivation by 1 level was very difficult to obtain. A level 5 void elixir that could raise a level 6 cultivator's cultivation by 1 level was extremely rare. It was already incredible that Night Sorrow had the materials and could make the elixir. If the dragon spirit elixir was made, it would be indescribable. There are 3 main materials to make the dragon spirit elixir. One is the dragon blood of a venerable. The other 2 are the spirit black grass and the blue sparrow grass. That was the spirit black grass, Night Sorrow said. A moment later, Xueling came over with a member of the god-slaying team. Your subordinate, Bai Lin, greets the captain, the young man with delicate features said. Do you remember where this herb was collected? Night Sorrow asked. Chapter 549. Geniuses remember love in 1 second divided by little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Then let's go again and collect some of these herbs, Night Sorrow said excitedly. Captain, you don't have to go. I'll bring them out for training and take care of this matter along the way, Xueling said. That's fine. You guys be careful, Night Sorrow said. After that, Xueling left. He had discussed it with Ho Jian. After a period of cultivation, everyone could go out and use actual combat to improve their cultivation. Now that Yi Shang had given him instructions, he would take care of this matter. We have some idea of the spirit black grass. We're just missing the indigo sparrow grass. But where can we get it? Yang Lei asked anxiously. What's the rush? I can't refine it even if you give me the materials now. Level 6 pills can only be refined by an alchemy grandmaster. What are the basic requirements of an alchemy grandmaster? They have to have the cultivation of an honorable as the foundation. Night Sorrow said with a smile. You're right. I'm too anxious. The main thing is that this pill is too powerful. First of all, it's the dragon blood of an honorable. It's so difficult to get it. Yang Lei said as she rubbed her hands. Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu smiled. They knew Yang Lei's personality. She was straightforward. We have plenty of time. Besides, we have many channels. Ask the Dongxian city governor's office. Tianji Tower has even more channels. Love go little say Wang, Chu Night Sorrow said. A pill for leveling up is much more precious than a pill for support. How much energy do we need to cultivate one level? If we don't have upper grade spiritual stones, it'll probably take a few years. What about an honorable? The energy required is even more terrifying. Most importantly, this dragon spirit pill is not only a matter of energy. It saves a lot of time. Yang Lei explained the importance of the dragon spirit pill. In other words, this pill is extremely tempting to the Venerable One, Sikong Chuyu said. Yes, the dragon spirit pill is different from the profound tranquility pill and the void pill. In the past, one could advance quickly, and the time needed to advance to the next level was shorter, so it had the disadvantage of having a low control of energy. However, this is not the case for the Venerable One. The Venerable One has the power of the soul as a foundation. After eating the dragon spirit pill, the Venerable One can continuously strengthen his control. Using time to exchange for control is worth it. Yang Lei once again explained the power of the dragon spirit pill. Sikong Chuyu nodded at Night Sorrow. Then what's there to say? We have to refine it. We have to get the materials for $0 QS free of charge to read novel C. After chatting for a while and drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow went to meditate and cultivate. This time, Night Sorrow didn't intend to cultivate for a long time. He just wanted to consolidate the results of the previous half a month of hard work. For the next few days, Night Sorrow consolidated his cultivation base at night. During the day, he practiced his spear technique in his cultivation base. Night Sorrow's cultivation base improved very quickly. In the past, he could only control the energy around the reincarnation spear. Now, he could control the energy within a radius of 1 zhang * 3, 33 m per zhang. It could be said that his cultivation base was already at the half-step Venerable Realm. The spatial restraints of Venerable Realm experts did not have much effect on him. Of course, this also referred to early Venerable Realm experts. High-level Venerable Realm experts could still suppress the energy they controlled. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu also took the same path to cultivate their cultivation base. As long as they had sufficient resources, it would not be a problem for them to cultivate their true qi to the peak of the void inquiry stage. The only thing that they could not keep up with was their cultivation base. After cultivating for 4 to 5 days, Night Sorrow felt that the results of the previous period had stabilized. He greeted the two ladies and went into seclusion again. He wanted to turn the desolate stones into the power of desolates that he could control. Other than that, he also needed to strengthen his innate bloodline power and activate the 5th innate bloodline power as soon as possible. After Night Sorrow went into seclusion, Wu Lingfei came to ask him about it. After knowing that Night Sorrow was in seclusion, she also went into seclusion. She had just entered the Saint Realm not long ago. Hence, it was the time for her strength to improve rapidly. In addition, she did not lack resources. She had top-grade crystals and life crystals. What she needed was time. During Night Sorrow's seclusion this time, he didn't only cultivate the power of desolates. At the same time, he also took out the black turtle crystal. Now that he had a foundation for the power of desolates, he was cultivating the myriad Tao text together with it. If it had been an ordinary cultivator with a bad temperament, they would have felt irritated if they cultivated like this. However, Yi Shang enjoyed the pleasure of increasing his cultivation base. This was the difference between having resources and not having resources. During this cultivation, Night Sorrow's power of desolates increased relatively slowly. After all, he was cultivating the myriad Tao text. This time, it took Night Sorrow more than 20 days to consume all the desolate stones. He still had some black turtle crystal left. This was the effect of the power of desolates refining things quickly. After stabilizing the power of desolates, Night Sorrow started to cultivate the myriad Tao text at full speed. This was because the myriad Tao text was not far from the peak of the level 3 Tao querying realm. This time, Yi Shang had spent an entire month in seclusion. The results of this cultivation were very impressive. Not only had he refined the second desolate stone, but he had also cultivated the myriad Tao tome to the peak of the third level of the Tao querying realm. What made Night Sorrow regretful was that the improvement of his soul power was still lacking. It was not as fast as the improvement of his qi cultivation and the myriad Tao text. However, Night Sorrow was very satisfied. This speed of cultivation was already very impressive. After exiting the secret cultivation room, Night Sorrow did not see Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. He brewed tea and drank it to relax. Night Sorrow drank a pot of tea and practiced his spear skills. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu returned. The two of them had gone shopping while cultivating. They even brought back the battle robes that they had ordered for Night Sorrow a few days ago. After trying on the robes, Night Sorrow was very satisfied. This time, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu had ordered a loose-fitting robe for him. It was not the tight-fitting kind. When low-level cultivators battled, they competed with their battle techniques. They were all close combat. Therefore, they wore tight-fitting battle robes to look nimble. However, it was different for high-level cultivators. When high-level cultivators battled, they relied on their control of energy and comprehension of their realms. Therefore, there were no requirements for the battle robes. It was better for them to be comfortable. The loose-fitting battle robes made Night Sorrow look more mature and full of the aura of an expert. Shirsan, your cultivation base is already at the mid-6th grade void inquiry stage. The two of us have just entered the 5th grade void inquiry stage not long ago. The gap between us is getting bigger and bigger. Yang Lei said with some emotions. Only when I have the strength can I protect you better. It's fine as long as your cultivation base improves and you can have a longer lifespan. Only then can we be together forever. Night Sorrow said. We understand you. However, we also have our own goals. We don't want to be a decorative vase. We want to fight side by side with you. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood the two women's intentions. How's your cultivation of the power of desolation going? Yang Lei asked. I have already refined 2 of the 3 desolation stones. Once I finish refining all 3, the amount of desolation stones won't be small. However, it's still not enough to change the attributes of the energy in my body. I plan to strengthen a part of my body first. I plan to strengthen my left hand into the city desolation hand. Night Sorrow told them his thoughts. Chapter 550. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. I'm not in a hurry for now. Let me refine the 3 desolate stones first. Actually, I didn't tell you that refining the desolate stones not only increased the quantity of power of desolates, but also the quality of the power of desolates. I can even corrode stones now. Love Go Little Say Kui Shan pointed at a stone sculpture that had already turned into sand and petrified not too far away from them. In other words, the flow of time has increased by a lot, Yang Lei said, looking at the stone sculpture. That's right. If you're hit by my palm without any defense, you'll definitely age by 200 to 300 years. If you have an energy shield, it'll be a different story, Night Sorrow said. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and said, although it's not 1,000 years in an instant, 200 or 300 years is still very scary. If you touch me a few more times, I'll die. Who has enough lifespan for you to torture me like this? After I refine the 3rd desolate stone, I will cultivate the hand of desolation, Night Sorrow said. Then are you going to go into seclusion again? Yang Lei said somewhat reluctantly. The myriad Tao scripture that I cultivate needs to be upgraded. Other than that, I also need to increase my true Qi cultivation base to the 7th level of the void inquiry stage as soon as possible. Then, I can eat the void extreme pill and raise my cultivation base to the 8th level of the void inquiry stage. Yishan spoke his thoughts. You're right, Yishan said. You're right. You're right. You're right. Although I want you to spend more time with us, I still support your decision. Only by being strong can we be together for a longer time and be safer. Yang Lei nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow got up and hugged Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu before going to the secret cultivation room to start cultivating. After entering the secret cultivation room, Night Sorrow took out the desolate stone and the black tortoise crystal and started cultivating. The Tao querying realm of the myriad Tao tome was to break through the barriers between the body and the body. How could this breakthrough not be huge? The main thing was that Night Sorrow had a good foundation and he had tasted all kinds of pain before. It could be said that after the bitter, the sweet was just beginning. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. On the 3rd day of Night Sorrow's closed-door cultivation, Xueling and the others came back with a lot of black spirit grass. Knowing that Night Sorrow was in seclusion, Xueling gave the spirit grass to Yang Lei and went to reorganize the team. The time spent in seclusion was day and night. Now that Night Sorrow's cultivation was high and he had energy to replenish himself, he didn't have to worry about the nourishment his body needed. On the 9th day of his seclusion, Night Sorrow increased the cultivation level of the myriad Tao tome to the 4th level of the Tao querying realm. It made the energy of the myriad Tao tome much denser. At the same time, the strength of his body also increased. This was the effect of the increase in the toughness of his body. While stabilizing his cultivation level, Night Sorrow continued to refine the desolate stone. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. The power of desolates was very domineering. However, it now belonged to Night Sorrow. Thus, it did not harm him at all. This time, Night Sorrow went into seclusion for a whole month. After completely refining the desolate stone, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. As for the improvement of his soul power and true Qi, even though it was slow, Night Sorrow could still feel the improvement. His true Qi cultivation level was not far from the late 6th level of the void inquiry stage. As soon as Night Sorrow came out of the secret cultivation room, Tianyu and the silver fox ran to his side. The improvement speed of the two beasts' cultivation level was very terrifying. It was much faster than the improvement of cultivators. Currently, Tianyu had reached the 5th level of the void inquiry stage while the silver fox had also reached the 5th level of the divine severing realm. The relationship between the two beasts was very good. The main reason was that Tianyu was very generous. He was willing to play with the silver fox and could also endure the silver fox's torment. Seeing Night Sorrow come out, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu who were cultivating the union of man and sword also stopped their cultivation. Every time you go into seclusion, you will change your appearance. Now, the smoke of your essence Qi is 40 zhang * 3. 33 m per zhang, high. It's not far from reaching the clouds. Yang Lei said. It's still all right. Did everything go smoothly for you? Night Sorrow asked. It went smoothly. After my soul power can cultivate on its own, the improvement is obvious. The effect of using the soul crystal is very strong. Sikong Chuyu nodded. By the way, after you went into seclusion for a while, Xueling and the others came back and found the spirit Xian grass. It's all here. Yang Lei took out all the resources that Xueling brought back and placed them on the table. There are so many black spirit grass. It's probably the same as the dragon blood. All that's missing is the blue-green sparrow grass. Looking at the pile of black spirit grass, Night Sorrow was very satisfied. Latest square root, fast 5f, up 36 inch, that's good. Yang Lei nodded. Later, we'll go to Tianji Tower to post a mission. We have spirit stones, elixirs, and elixirs. We can afford to post a mission, Night Sorrow said. Haha. This is what it means to be rich and overbearing. Guo Xiao appeared in the courtyard. Chief Inspector Guo is here. Night Sorrow greeted the two women. Chief Tower Master is in seclusion. I don't trust anyone else with this treasure, so I brought it for you personally. Guo Xiao handed the jade box that contained the water attribute origin stone to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took it and casually handed it to Sikong Chuyu. Sorry to trouble Chief Inspector Guo to come all the way here. Chief Inspector, please have a seat. Of course. We can't make any mistakes. Your cultivation has improved greatly. Guo Xiao sat down and said. At this time, Wu Lingfei, who was wearing a veil, appeared. She was usually in seclusion, but Guo Xiao's arrival woke her up from her meditation. Master Wu Kei. Guo Xiao stood up and cupped his hands. Let's not stand on ceremony. Have a seat. Wu Lingfei said as she sat down. By the way, Night Sorrow, you said you wanted to post a mission. Tell me what you need first. Let's see if Tianji Tower has it. Guo Xiao remembered what Night Sorrow said when he came in. I want to refine pills, but I lack the main ingredient, blue sparrow grass. Night Sorrow stated his request. I've never heard of this before. I'll go back and take a look. If we don't have it, I'll post a mission for you. As for the reward, you can write a list and I'll bring it back, Guo Xiao said. Night Sorrow nodded at Sikong Chuyu, and Sikong Chuyu went back to take a brush and write. What's the situation at Tianji Tower's headquarters? Have those mad dogs from Qingtian City and the Jiyu family started biting people? Wu Lingfei asked. They've started biting people. They've had a few small conflicts with Tianji Tower, but they've stopped before going too far and didn't escalate the conflict. They know that Tianji Tower isn't afraid of war. If the Jiyu family fights to the death with us, they'll know that the most important thing is that Master Wu Kei can stop their saints. They won't be able to be arrogant, Guo Xiao said. The war will happen sooner or later. I hope Master Wu Kei can smoothly break through. Then, the strength of Tianji Tower will increase, Wu Lingfei said. Guo Xiao nodded. The significance of this matter was different. Lin Yuandao couldn't compare to Jiyu Haitian after entering the Saint Realm, but what if Wu Lingfei stopped Jiyu Haitian? Who could stop Lin Yuandao? Wouldn't it be a massacre for the other venerables? After thinking for a moment, Guo Xiao said, it should go smoothly. Chief K Master has been stuck at this bottleneck for a long time and hasn't had any opportunities. This time, Night Sorrow's treasure gave the sect master a chance to break through. That's good. Master Wu Kei is in seclusion. I can't keep you here for a while longer. Wu Lingfei said. Chapter 551. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. This was the current situation. The Qingtian region and the eastern Xian region were like fire and water, because the Qingtian region suffered a great loss this time. Not only did they lose their number one spiritual treasure, but they also lost their face. Love go little say, Chu, so what? Not to mention the eastern Xian region, why don't they try entering the Taiyu region? As soon as they enter the Taiyu region, we will start fighting. Wu Lingfei said. The Qingtian region is indeed stronger. However, it's still not enough to fight against the eastern Xian region and the northern Sea region. The main thing is still the peak level. As long as we can withstand their attacks at the peak level, they won't be a match for us. Guo Xiao said. If there's anything, just inform us. Wu Lingfei nodded at Guo Xiao. After that, they sent Guo Xiao out of the Pure Heart courtyard. Yang Lei, Chiyu, your cultivation bases have improved faster because you have the support of resources. However, one's cultivation base is very important. Even if you have reached the peak of the void inquiry stage, your cultivation base is still not enough. You still have to lie there and wait for your cultivation base to improve. Therefore, you have to pay attention to your cultivation base. Wu Lingfei reminded Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Thank you, Aunt Fei. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu both bowed. All right. Work hard in your cultivation. Wu Lingfei instructed them and went back to the tower to cultivate. She was also working hard to improve her cultivation base. The current turbulent situation also made her feel a sense of crisis. Night Sorrow did not need to go into seclusion for the time being. After having dinner with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, he stayed in the courtyard to enjoy the night breeze while watching the two women cultivate their sword techniques. The two women were cultivating their sword techniques to improve their cultivation base. After the two women were done with their cultivation, the three of them went to rest together. Night Sorrow also cooperated with them in their cultivation. Night Sorrow's body had reached the essence chi smoke realm. It was very beneficial to the two women who were cultivating the harmony cultivation method. Early in the morning, Night Sorrow woke up early to practice his spear arts and cultivate his realm. He had reached the realm of one with the world, but it was still too low and he still needed to explore it. After practicing his spear art for a while, Night Sorrow went to check on the god-slaying team. After that, he went to the resting area for Yang Lei's disciples. He also gave Xiang Ding and Jiang Ziming some guidance in their cultivation before returning to his courtyard. When Night Sorrow came back, the two girls also washed up and followed Aunt Feng to lay out the breakfast. After eating breakfast, the two women continued to practice their swordsmanship and cultivate their realms. Night Sorrow thought for a moment before returning to the cultivation chamber. He attempted to use the power of desolates to strengthen his left hand. He planned on changing his left hand stats to the same as the Mystic Jade hand. To change his left hand, Night Sorrow first transferred the Mystic Jade spiritual energy from his left hand to his right hand. Then, he circulated the power of desolates to strengthen the flesh and bones of his left hand. Night Sorrow's hands had been strengthened multiple times. The myriad Tao treasured tomes energy strengthened and the Mystic Jade spiritual energy strengthened. Now, he was going to strengthen it for the third time. As the power of desolates invaded his body, Night Sorrow's body started to tremble. Pain. It was extremely painful. It was even more painful than the previous strengthening sessions combined. Night Sorrow stretched his left hand to his lower abdomen and started to strengthen it. He had to endure the pain. After cultivating until night time, Night Sorrow walked out of the cultivation chamber. As he had endured an entire day of intense pain, Night Sorrow didn't look too good. 13. What's wrong? Why do you look so pale? Yang Lei asked with a frown when she saw Night Sorrow. I'm cultivating the hand of desolates to strengthen my left hand. The pain is a little unbearable, Night Sorrow said. You're starting to cultivate? This doesn't conflict with the Mystic Jade hands that you cultivated in the past, right? Sikong Chuyu asked with concern. I transferred the Mystic Jade spiritual energy from my left hand to my right hand. This is also because my myriad Tao treasured tome has leveled up. The strength of my right hand has increased. I can still endure the combination of two Mystic Jade spiritual energies. It was definitely impossible in the past, Night Sorrow said. Then, the Mystic Jade hands on your left hand is crippled? Yang Lei asked. There's no other way. I can't possibly cultivate the foot of desolates, right? There are gains and losses. This is inevitable. Night Sorrow smiled and adjusted everyone's nervous mood. The loss is also a little big, Sikong Chuyu said. Actually, the Mystic Jade hands on my left hand isn't crippled. It can still be converted into energy. However, in the future, the power of desolates will be the main force and the Mystic Jade hands will be the auxiliary force, Night Sorrow said. Your body can't be damaged by ordinary weapons now, right? Yang Lei asked. My body might be a little weaker. My hands can't be damaged by Tier 5 weapons, Night Sorrow nodded and said. A humanoid beast. Sikong Chuyu said with some emotion. After drinking tea and enjoying the night breeze and greeting the two girls, Night Sorrow entered the secret cultivation room and continued to cultivate the Hand of Desolates. While cultivating the Hand of Desolates, Night Sorrow did not stop cultivating his true chi and soul power. Yong/Geo% free 8. Read novels. After cultivating day and night for 4 days, Night Sorrow's left hand to his shoulder, flesh, tendons, bones, and bone marrow were all strengthened to the point that they couldn't be strengthened any further. Night Sorrow stored the power of Desolates in the strengthened areas. When not using the power of Desolates, Night Sorrow's left hand could use the mystic jade hands and other martial arts. When needed, he could use the power of Desolates, which was a fatal move. In addition, Night Sorrow felt that his thoughts weren't perfect enough. In the past, he only wanted to cultivate the Hand of Desolates and strengthen his left arm. However, in reality, Night Sorrow could use the power of Desolates to strengthen his entire body. It was just more convenient to use his left hand to attack. Night Sorrow, who planned to cultivate his body to perfection, used the power of Desolates to strengthen his body in the following days while cultivating his true chi, soul power, and realm. This was a huge, arduous, and painful process. Fortunately, Night Sorrow had endured too much pain to cultivate his body. He was already used to it and could still persevere. After Wu Lingfei came out from her seclusion and learned about Night Sorrow's cultivation direction, she was very supportive. She even experimented with Night Sorrow. She held a spirit weapon and attacked Night Sorrow's strengthened left arm. Night Sorrow had the myriad Dao scripture protecting him. He could withstand the attack of Wu Lingfei, who was at the mid-void inquiry stage with her spirit weapon. In other words, as long as Night Sorrow defended himself with all his strength and stood still, a mid-5th grade opponent would not be able to break through his defense. However, it would consume a lot of energy from the myriad Dao scripture. If you continue cultivating this body, it will become a divine weapon. Wu Lingfei said with a sigh. I'm just using the power of Desolates to strengthen my body. If all the energy in my body turns into power of Desolates, I will be even stronger. Night Sorrow said. Some things can't be rushed. Perhaps the opportunity hasn't arrived yet. Your opportunity is enough. You also have to let others live, right? Wu Lingfei said with a smile. I'll use the power of Desolates to strengthen my entire body first. We'll talk about the rest later. Aunt Fei, is everything going well for you? Night Sorrow asked. Everything is going well. Don't worry. Aunt Fei will be able to handle it if anything happens. Wu Lingfei nodded at Night Sorrow. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow continued to use the power of Desolates to strengthen his body. After using the power of Desolates to strengthen his body, Night Sorrow's body reached the level where Huang Wudao cultivated the heavenly Desolate sword body. Chapter 552. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with interesting novels to read. When Huang Wudao subdued the power of Desolates, his true chi had the attribute of the power of Desolates. He was using chi to refine his body, unlike Night Sorrow, who had a separate energy in his body and a separate cultivation system. After knowing that his train of thought was correct, Night Sorrow treated this process as his primary task. The other cultivation was secondary. Of course, he would still cultivate his spear technique during the day and improve his cultivation base. As his comprehension deepened, the range of energy that Night Sorrow could control became larger and larger. Currently, it was already more than 6 zhang*3, 33 m per zhang, wide. He could be considered to have entered the initial stage of the oneness of heaven and man. However, Night Sorrow was not satisfied. He still continued to cultivate. As the spiritual power of Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu increased, they also had a better understanding of the oneness of man and sword. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow's great task of strengthening his body was also nearing its end. When Night Sorrow used the power of Desolates to strengthen his entire body, 1.5 months had already passed. During this period, his cultivation base was already close to the peak of the void inquiry stage. Other than that, Night Sorrow had also successfully cultivated the 7-star brilliant moon spear technique. He had truly achieved the oneness of 7 spears and could now display a spear technique called the Brilliant Moon Spear Technique. According to Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow could only achieve this after reaching the late void inquiry stage. The main reason why he could achieve this in advance was because of Night Sorrow's solid foundation. Other than that, his meridians were wide and his strength was great, which had unknowingly increased the explosive power of his true chi. This allowed Night Sorrow's strength to increase tremendously even though his cultivation base had yet to advance. After Night Sorrow's body had been strengthened by the power of desolates, his attacks carried the power of time when he defended against attacks. In other words, when an attack came close to Night Sorrow's body, the energy of the attack would be depleted and the power of the attack would decrease. After completing the strengthening of his body with the power of desolates, Night Sorrow heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he was looking forward to the future. Once he absorbed enough power of desolates, he would be able to convert the energy of the myriad Dao treasured tome into power of desolates. Then, his achievements in body tempering would surpass Huang Wudao's desolate sword physique. After practicing his spear art once again, Night Sorrow remembered something. When he was in the Great Desolation City, Hu Shao had given him 3 ice-attributed crystals. He could use them to strengthen the mysterious jade spirit chi and store it in his hands. This way, when he needed it, he could switch between the mysterious jade hands and the hand of desolation. Night Sorrow and the others were cultivating in seclusion. The world outside was changing rapidly. The people of the Qingtian domain had gathered in Donghua City, the coastal city of the Qingtian domain, to confront the Taiyue domain. Similarly, the people of the eastern Xian domain and the northern Xi domain had gathered in West Xi City. The people in charge of these people were the guardian elder Kuan Nan of Dongxian City, the deputy city lord of North Xi City, Hai Wuzhen of the northern Xi domain, and Hua Haining of the Tianji Tower. It could be said that as long as the saints of the Qingtian domain didn't make a move, there was no possibility of taking down West Xi City. Ji Yuhaitian would make a move? How would he dare to casually make a move? If he did, Wu Lingfei would make a move, and the result would very likely be the destruction of the Ji family. The price of Wu Lingfei's reckless actions was the eastern Xian domain's suffering, but that was only the power around her. However, the Ji family was Ji Yuhaitian's family. They were his descendants. How would he dare to act rashly? After Night Sorrow finished cultivating again, Wu Lingfei came out of seclusion. "Aunt Fei, you've come out of seclusion. It seems that the results are very good," said Night Sorrow when he saw Wu Lingfei's smiling face. "I successfully broke through a level," said Wu Lingfei. "So fast? Even the void inquiry stage cultivators like us can't break through so fast, right?" Night Sorrow said in astonishment. "There's only one chance like this. It's because before I broke through, I accumulated a lot of energy and stored it in the space within my body. After I broke through, it quickly transformed into my own cultivation base," said Wu Lingfei. "That's great. With Aunt Fei's increase in cultivation base, the threat to Ji Yuhaitian and the Qingtian domain will become even greater." Night Sorrow said with a smile. "You don't have to worry. Ji Yuhaitian has some concerns. At most, he will arrange a battle between venerables. At most, he will mobilize the forces of the subordinate territories of the 3 origin domain and then join forces with the forces of the other regions to attack. So what? With the alliance of our eastern Xian domain and the North Xi domain and the support of the Tianji Tower, it's impossible for them to win," Wu Lingfei said. At this moment, Ho Jian came and told them about the news he had found out and the current situation. The only original version of Q, P, whose KZ and his M are all L pirated by J, both sides are guarding the cities in Linhai. If the teleportation formation is closed, does it mean that they have cut off communication? Night Sorrow asked. Wu Lingfei shook her head. "I don't think the teleportation formation will be closed. It's useless to send a few people through it. Besides, closing the teleportation formation will make people feel disgusted and scared. Both sides won't do that. Could it be that they don't dare to fight because they are all bark and no bite?" Sikong Chuyu, who came with Yang Lei, said. It's hard to tell whether they will fight or not. Qingtian domain has lost its reputation. It's the same as slapping their face. They still have to put up a front. You guys don't have to worry about it. Just focus on your cultivation, said Wu Lingfei. As long as Auntie Fei is strong, Eastern Xian domain and Taiyue domain will be safe, said Night Sorrow. But Auntie Fei is still restrained. If you want to enter Qingtian domain and fight, you have to rely on venerables. If an invincible venerable appears, the situation will be different. They can directly crush Ji family's forces. The saints have saints watching over them. Ji Haitian won't dare to act recklessly, said Wu Lingfei. But I can't do anything. Night Sorrow said helplessly. He wanted to, but he didn't have the strength. The time he spent cultivating was too short. The gap between him and the veteran experts was too big. Why are you in such a hurry? Do you think the domain war will end in a day or two? It won't be strange if it lasts for decades, said Wu Lingfei. Then I'm relieved. As long as I work hard, I will still have the chance to contribute to Eastern Xian domain. Night Sorrow nodded, but he was still anxious. How is your realm now? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I can control the energy in a 2-meter radius around me. There's still a possibility of improvement, said Night Sorrow. Not bad. This is the elementary realm of unity of heaven and man. In other words, your realm is now half-step venerable. Wu Lingfei nodded with satisfaction. Once my soul power reaches the liquid state, I'll be able to increase my cultivation level even faster, Yishan said. You mean the liquefaction of your soul power? How long will it take? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow with surprise. According to the current progress, my soul power will reach the liquid state in about 3 months, said Night Sorrow as he sensed his spirit see. After 3 months, you'll be able to liquefy your soul power. I'm impressed. I was only able to liquefy my soul power after becoming a mid-level venerable. You're not even a venerable yet, but you've already reached this level. It's simply unimaginable. Since your soul power is so strong, you should continue to increase your cultivation. There's still a lot of room for you to increase your cultivation. After recovering from her shock, Wu Lingfei immediately set a cultivation path for Yishang. Chapter 553. Genius 1 second remember love go divided by Shao. Shuan.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. The realm and soul power you can improve now is something that other cultivators find difficult to improve. Or rather, it's impossible to improve. What you lack is a stable cultivation base. You don't have to worry about that. Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow, I didn't expect your soul power foundation to be so good. Sikong Chuyu said. She and Yang Lei were also very surprised. Human cultivators and demon beasts existed in the form of a soul and body. Now, Night Sorrow's body was ridiculously strong and his soul power foundation was incomparably solid. It could be said that what he lacked was time. What he lacked was time to improve his cultivation base. The space-time pagoda can provide energy to cultivate soul power and improve chi cultivation base. That's why my soul power can improve faster. Night Sorrow said. Now that I know you're cultivating in the right direction, Aunt Fei doesn't have to worry. Don't just cultivate all day. Find some time to go out and see the beauty of the outside world. You're still young. Don't act like an old man. Your world shouldn't only be about cultivation. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Wu Lingfei saw Night Sorrow's attitude and effort towards cultivation, so she was a little worried and distressed. Baidu search AI go female sign Shao say www.aichuxs.com. Aside from cultivating, he doesn't know anything else. Yishang, tell me, how long has it been since you left this mansion? Yang Lei asked. You two just watch him. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. After eating lunch with Night Sorrow and the others, Wu Lingfei returned to the observation tower. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu dragged Night Sorrow out. They didn't want Night Sorrow to cultivate too hard. The two girls went shopping while Night Sorrow followed behind. Seeing the two girls happy, Night Sorrow was also happy. At the same time, he felt apologetic because he didn't fulfill the responsibility of a man. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com 13. Why aren't you saying anything? Yang Lei turned around and looked at Night Sorrow. Ninth senior sister, Chiyu, I'm sorry. I've been cultivating so hard that I neglected your feelings. Night Sorrow said with some embarrassment. DZ looked at the chapters of the D, don't say that. You're working hard now to build a foundation for our future. Yang Lei said as she pulled on Yishang's arm. She wasn't a teenage girl. She knew what she should know and understood what Yishang was thinking. Auntie Fei is right. My world shouldn't just be about cultivation. I've neglected too many things, and they are very important things. Night Sorrow took a deep breath and said. We don't want you to cultivate too hard. It's fine as long as you work hard. Sikong Chuyu said. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. The three of them walked around the streets. Night Sorrow bought a few more dresses for the two girls before finding a tavern to sit down. What day is it today? I want to drink, and someone comes with good wine. Night Sorrow had just entered the tavern when he heard people talking. It was blacksmith uncle, sister Luo and brother An. Hehe, blacksmith uncle, sister Luo and brother An are all here? Night Sorrow brought Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu to greet the three. Kid, there are some things that I need to make clear to you. We are sworn siblings. You can call me Brother Blacksmith from now on. Blacksmith uncle said to Night Sorrow. It's Night Sorrow's fault. I'll punish myself with a bowl later. Night Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine and placed them on the table. Kid, your cultivation is rising rapidly. Drinking to celebrate is only natural. Blacksmith uncle said with a smile. The sky-piercing spear that Brother Blacksmith gave me is very useful. I don't want to say anything else. Come, drink. Night Sorrow opened the jar and poured wine for Blacksmith uncle and the others. Blacksmith uncle and the others didn't hesitate and directly drank with Night Sorrow's group. Night Sorrow knew that Blacksmith uncle and the others were experts from the assassination hall. However, he didn't think that was important. What was important was that they were all forthright friends. After drinking 2 jars of wine, Night Sorrow's group left the tavern. Night Sorrow, these 3 are all experts. I wonder what their cultivation bases are. Sikong Chuyu asked. They are all at the peak of the void inquiry stage. If they don't try to assassinate venerated realm experts, they won't have any problems. Night Sorrow was at the peak of the 6th level of the void inquiry stage. Thus, he could tell the cultivation bases of the 3 of them. After leaving the tavern, Sikong Chuyu wanted to buy some tea. When they were still some distance away from the tea house, a tea stall appeared by the roadside. Sikong Chuyu found a good item at the stall. It was the spirit calming tea. It was a good tea that could clear one's mind and calm one's mind. Sikong Chuyu directly bought all the tea. The 3 of them were lucky. This vendor had just started to set up his stall and no one had come over yet. Sikong Chuyu only used 10 middle-grade spirit stones to buy the tea. Spirit calming tea is a rare item. It's a rare wild tea. Sikong Chuyu said after leaving the stall. It's a good item that can calm one's mind. Night Sorrow said. After that, the 3 of them returned to the Pure Heart building. Yang Lei went to instruct the disciples in their cultivation while Night Sorrow went to watch the members of the God-slaying squad cultivate. The members of the God-slaying squad were practicing their combat techniques. The practice was very intense. Everyone's cultivation bases were similar. Hence, they could fight with their full strength. The effect of the training was also very real. When Night Sorrow arrived, everyone bowed to greet him. Captain, do you want battle armor? A few days ago, the City Lord Mansion sent a batch of battle armor to us. Nan Liue said to Night Sorrow. I don't need it. Is there enough for everyone? Night Sorrow touched the golden phoenix shoulder guard on his shoulder and said. After everyone gets one set, there are still 10 sets left. The quality of the armor is even better than the original armor of the blood-robed guards. Nan Liue said. That's good. Defense is very important. If it's good, it can save lives at critical times. Night Sorrow said. After chatting with everyone for a while, Night Sorrow asked about the resources. After knowing that Nan Liue had enough resources, he nodded. Then, Night Sorrow thought for a while and left behind another 100 high-grade spirit stones. Captain, what are you doing? Keep it. You need it too. Nan Liue said. We all have elixir resources and spirit stones. Captain, you can take them back. Ho Jian said. The others also asked Night Sorrow to keep them. Night Sorrow nodded with satisfaction. This was the god-slaying squad. Everyone was not selfish. However, he did not plan to take back the spirit stones. Liue, distribute these spirit stones later. Everyone needs to have some hard currency. This way, it won't be a problem if they want to exchange for the resources they need. As for me, you don't have to worry. Yi Shan said to Nan Liue. Looking at Night Sorrow, Nan Liue nodded. Then I will thank Captain on behalf of my brothers. We are all brothers. No need to be so polite. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Chapter 554. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. Everyone is doing what the leader told us to do. Every morning, we will practice carving. In the afternoon, we will practice actual combat. Ho Jian said. The cultivation of soul power is the most important thing. It's fine as long as you know what to do. Night Sorrow returned to his backyard after giving his instructions. Is their cultivation going well? Yang Lei asked. It's going well. If you have nothing to do, you should go and have a look. We will be fighting side by side in the future. It's good to be familiar with each other. Night Sorrow said. After chatting with the two ladies for a while, Night Sorrow began to practice his spear technique. His cultivation base had already reached the peak of the 6th grade void inquiry stage. It was indeed possible for him to break through. However, Night Sorrow planned to consolidate his cultivation base for a while. Having a solid foundation would only bring him benefits. At night, Yi Shang accompanied the two girls to practice the harmony cultivation method and then went to sleep. He also needed to ease his tense mood. As for absorbing the ice attribute crystal stones, he could postpone it. In any case, he wasn't in a hurry. On the second day, when Night Sorrow was practicing his spear technique, someone came to his mansion. It was Ling Long. Your cultivation base is improving really fast. You will catch up with me very soon. Ling Long greeted Night Sorrow when she saw him. Senior sister Ling Long, you're back. Did everything go well over there? Night Sorrow kept his spear and asked after pouring a cup of water from the teapot. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.aichuxs.com. It went well, but it still needs time. After all, the safety of the base is the most important thing. Unless we don't build a base, Tianji Tower will become an unbreakable fortress once it is built. Ling Long said. It's fine as long as it went well. Since you're back, just stay for a few more days. Night Sorrow said. I'm just going there for a visit. It's none of my business. The headquarters has also sent an elder. No matter what, there will be someone in charge. Ling Long said. After chatting with Ling Long for a while, Night Sorrow continued to practice his spear technique. Love go little say W. Chu after watching Night Sorrow cultivate, Exquisite also left. Night Sorrow's rapid increase in strength gave her a lot of pressure. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow played with Tianyu and Silver Fox. Forever J exempt, pay to read E_novel and recently, Silver Fox had leveled up again, reaching level 6 of the spirit severing stage. Tianyu's level was high, so he needed a lot of energy to level up, so he hadn't leveled up yet. After that, Night Sorrow brought the two girls out to the streets. Now, the three of them went out to the streets purely to look for fun. They did not lack spirit stones or medicinal pills. After 2 days of relaxing, Night Sorrow was about to enter seclusion. He wanted to increase his true chi cultivation to the 7th level of the void inquiry stage and then refine the ice attribute crystals. The two women watched as Yishang entered the secret cultivation room and started cultivating as well. They knew that it was already very rare for Night Sorrow to accompany them for the past few days. They could not delay Night Sorrow's cultivation. After entering the secret cultivation room and stabilizing his emotions, Night Sorrow began to level up and condense the 7th layer of true chi light. A few days ago, Night Sorrow could already level up. However, he had been consolidating his cultivation base. Since he had accumulated enough, Night Sorrow did not face any difficulty in leveling up. However, compared to the past, it was still relatively slow. After all, the amount and speed of his true chi were very different from before. After spending 1.5 days, Night Sorrow successfully condensed the 7th layer of true chi light. His cultivation base had also officially advanced to the 7th level of the void inquiry stage, the late void inquiry stage. After opening his eyes and exhaling a mouthful of turbid chi, Night Sorrow took out the ice attribute crystals. While absorbing the ice attribute power to strengthen the spiritual chi of the profound jade, he also stabilized his cultivation base that had just leveled up. While stabilizing his cultivation base and absorbing the ice attribute spiritual chi, Night Sorrow communicated with Shao Kong. Instead of absorbing the true chi, he only absorbed the spiritual chi. Night Sorrow used 10 days to completely absorb the power of the ice attribute crystal. At the same time, he also completely stabilized his cultivation base. This time, the speed of refining the crystal was fast. The main reason was that the grade of the ice attribute crystals was not as high as the grade of the desolate stones. Thus, it was relatively easier to refine them. After sensing the spiritual chi of the profound jade in his hands, Night Sorrow did not get up. Instead, he continued to refine the second ice attribute spirit stone while cultivating his spiritual chi. After refining the 2 ice attribute crystals, Night Sorrow's profound jade spiritual chi grew a little stronger. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to refine all the ice attribute crystals in one go and forget about it in the future. It took 10 days to refine 1 ice attribute crystal. Night Sorrow used 1 month to refine 3 ice attribute crystals. At the same time, his true chi was also very stable. What made Night Sorrow regretful was that although his bloodline talent had been improving, there was still no sign of the 5th bloodline talent. Night Sorrow resisted the idea of eating the void pill to continue improving his cultivation base. He stood up and left the secret cultivation room. He did not want Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu to worry about him. In addition, he needed to stabilize his cultivation base before eating the supreme mystery pill. Night Sorrow came out of the secret cultivation room early in the morning. After taking a bath, Night Sorrow went to the martial arts practice field and began to cultivate the mysterious jade hands. After Night Sorrow struck out a few palms, the pool next to the martial arts practice field was frozen, and the green trees were also frozen. If you don't use the power of desolates to kill the trees, you will freeze them to death. Do you not want your garden anymore? Wu Lingfei appeared in the martial arts practice field and waved her hand. A green energy appeared and revived the trees. Aunt Fei is here. Night Sorrow smiled embarrassedly. When he was cultivating, he forgot about some things. The power of your mysterious jade hands is still improving. If you have more ice attribute crystals, you can really cultivate the frozen space. However, there is no need for you to work hard on this. Wu Lingfei said. Why? Night Sorrow asked in confusion. You have the void attribute, space attribute, and the power of desolates. Is there a need to cultivate ordinary attributes? It's fine as long as you can master them and use them when you need them. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood what Wu Lingfei meant. She wanted him to focus on other attributes. You can't neglect the essentials. A person's energy is limited. You must put your limited energy where it is most needed and most valuable. For example, you have the power of desolates to support your attacks. It is much stronger than the mysterious jade hands. Wu Lingfei said. I understand what Aunt Fei means. Night Sorrow understood the reason behind it. 7th level void inquiry stage. You are getting closer and closer to the venerable realm. Wu Lingfei sighed with emotion. When she first met Night Sorrow was still a young man at the 3rd level of the void inquiry stage. Now, however, he was already a young man at the late void inquiry stage. I will work hard to stabilize my cultivation base and relax. After that, I will go and eat the void creation pill. Night Sorrow told her about his plan. All right. Now, Aunt Fei is going to the West Sea city of the Taiyu region to take a look at the situation there. Do you want to go with me? It can be considered as relaxing. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. All right. Then I will go with Aunt Fei to broaden my horizons. Night Sorrow nodded. He was very curious about the situation in the Taiyu region. All right. Tell Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Sikong Chuyu about it. Wu Lingfei said. Chapter 555. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. I'll provide you with some wonderful novels to read. This was Wu Lingfei's worry, but it wasn't unreasonable. If Ji Yu and Hai Tian were to shamelessly attack, then the Eastern Xian region and Northern Sea region would suffer heavy losses. Currently, the elites of the two regions were stationed in West Sea City. If there was a problem, then the two regions would suffer heavy losses. In order to make sure nothing went wrong, Wu Lingfei planned to go there. Then again, cultivating anywhere was the same. If she cultivated there, she would be able to deal with any unexpected situations. Night Sorrow informed Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, as well as Xueling and Ho Jian, before riding the Tianyu to Tianji Tower with Wu Lingfei, who was riding the silver-winged Eagle King. The two masked men arrived at an inconspicuous courtyard behind the Celestial Terminus Tower. Wu Lingfei pulled Night Sorrow through the courtyard a few times before arriving at the pavilion behind the courtyard. Entering the pavilion, Night Sorrow discovered a teleportation formation. Greetings Lord K and Lord Heaven's Fate Emissary. The black-clothed old man guarding the teleportation formation bowed. Teleport. The destination is the Taiyue region. Wu Lingfei said. Then Wu Lingfei led Night Sorrow through the teleportation formation. After teleporting 4 times, they arrived at a canyon outside West Sea City in the Taiyue region. The canyon was filled with arrays, concealing everything very well. After exiting the teleportation formation, the two rode their mounts to the Western Sea region near the Realm Sea. That was where the Eastern Xian region, Northern Sea region, and Tianji Tower were stationed. Seeing Wu Lingfei arrive, Hua Haining brought the elders of the Tianji Tower, Kun Nan brought the upper echelons of the Eastern Xian region, and Hai Wuzhen brought the upper echelons of the Northern Sea region to greet her. Wu Lingfei was the strongest in this camp, so everyone on this side knew that she was the most powerful. In addition, Wu Lingfei was the leader of the Eastern Xian region and the number 2 person of the Tianji Tower. Hai Wuzhen had also received instructions from Tai Shu Yan, so he knew how to face Wu Lingfei. Everyone, cultivate as you should. We can afford to fight, but we can also afford to waste time. Make the necessary arrangements and prepare sufficient resources. Also, you have to know that if their saints don't make a move, I won't make a move either, said Wu Lingfei. If they don't send out saints, we can hold on. Hua Haining, Kun Nan, and Hai Wuzhen nodded. G/G/G, Qin Nan, gather the rest of the Blood Strike Guards, except for the 5th squad. Arrange them near the teleportation formation. When the battle starts, send the Blood Strike Guards to the center of the Qing Tian domain and slaughter GU's forces directly, said Wu Lingfei. This subordinate understands. Qin Nan bowed and went to make arrangements. Hua Haining and Hai Wuzhen also said their goodbyes and went to do as Wu Lingfei said. It wasn't convenient for Wu Lingfei to order them around, but they knew what to do. Wu Lingfei's strategy was very sharp and ruthless. After the battle started, the eastern Xian region and the northern Xi region would be able to hold off the other side. At the same time, the other forces would start a slaughter in the center of the Qing Tian domain. This would be a very fatal blow to the Qing Tian domain. With the internal instability, fighting outside was no different from suicide. After that, Wu Lingfei brought Night Sorrow to a mountain peak some distance away from the campsite. It was a stone peak with beautiful scenery and lush green pines. It's fine. We'll just cultivate here for a while, said Wu Lingfei to Night Sorrow. Okay. Aunt Fei should feel more at ease with this under her nose, said Night Sorrow. The defense here is very strong. As long as the saints don't make a move, the defense here will be very stable. Without a saint, even if a battle breaks out, the two of us can just watch, said Wu Lingfei. Then I'll eat a void pill and cultivate later, said Night Sorrow. All right. Just focus on your cultivation. Wu Lingfei nodded. After resting and cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow greeted Wu Lingfei and went into seclusion in the tent. He had consumed a void pill to increase his cultivation base. In the past, Night Sorrow could quickly convert the medicinal power into his cultivation base after consuming a pill that could raise his cultivation base by 1 level. However, it was impossible now. The amount of energy needed to raise his cultivation base by 1 level was enormous. Even if he had sufficient energy to refine the medicinal power, it would still take a long time. After consuming the void pill, Night Sorrow began to absorb energy day and night to improve his cultivation base. Wu Lingfei was also using top-grade spirit stones to cultivate. She also had to make the best use of the time to improve her cultivation base. The days passed by very smoothly. Night Sorrow's cultivation base improved rapidly. Early void inquiry stage, mid-void inquiry stage, late void inquiry stage. In half a month, Night Sorrow's cultivation base had reached the peak of the void inquiry stage. After absorbing the medicinal power of the void pill, Night Sorrow also came out of seclusion. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with the result of using half a month's time to improve his cultivation base. From now on, you can't advance your cultivation base at will. You must stabilize your cultivation base and increase the degree of control. Advancing recklessly will bring about disadvantages in the future. If the disadvantages of an unstable foundation flare up, it will be fatal. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Don't worry, Aunt Fei. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. Aunt Fei knows that you are not a reckless person. Wu Lingfei nodded at Night Sorrow. In the following days, Night Sorrow held the Black Turtle Spirit Crystal and cultivated the Myriad Tao text. At the same time, he used the Time and Space Pagoda to help him cultivate his soul power and innate bloodline power. As for his true qi, it was slowly stabilizing. Seeing Night Sorrow working hard in his cultivation every day, not even needing time to rest, Wu Lingfei admired him very much. When she was Night Sorrow's age, she did not have Night Sorrow's willpower. She cultivated whenever she wanted without feeling irritated at all. A month after Wu Lingfei and Night Sorrow arrived in West Sea City, Lin Yuandao and Guoxiao came. Senior brother Lin, congratulations on entering the Saint Realm. Wu Lingfei cupped her hands when she saw Lin Yuandao. She saw that Lin Yuandao had successfully entered the Saint Realm. This is all thanks to Night Sorrow's treasure. Junior sister Wu's cultivation base has improved again. This is really worthy of celebration. Lin Yuandao was very surprised to see Wu Lingfei's cultivation base increase. He had entered the Saint Realm, so he naturally knew how much energy a saint needed to advance. He also knew how difficult it was. But now, Wu Lingfei had entered the 2-star Saint Realm. I was lucky to advance. Senior brother Lin smoothly broke through. This is very good news for us, Wu Lingfei said. Although I didn't advance with a high-grade attribute, I am still very satisfied to be able to control an extreme attribute, Lin Yuandao said. Senior brother Lin, you have to be careful. Stay with junior sister during this period. Be careful not to be sneak attacked by that shameless Ji Yu Haitian. Senior brother Lin has just entered the Saint Realm, so he still needs to stabilize his cultivation base, Wu Lingfei said. Wu Lingfei was not worried. If Ji Yu Haitian knew that a new saint had appeared in Tianji Tower, he would very likely eliminate him and solve the unstable factor. Although Lin Yuandao had entered the Saint Realm, he was definitely not a match for Ji Yu Haitian. He was not comparable to Wu Lingfei, who had entered the Saint Realm with a high-grade attribute. Chapter 556. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with interesting novels to read. After Night Sorrow came out and congratulated Lin Yuandao, he hesitated for a while before speaking. Lord K. Master, a venerable realm expert with the time attribute, will have very strong combat power. What's his name? That guy's name is Ji Yuhao. He has been cultivating for much longer than you. It's good that you know him. If you meet him, just avoid him. He's too dangerous. Peak 7th grade void inquiry stage. Night Sorrow, your cultivation speed is too fast. Which cultivator didn't use decades, centuries, or even centuries to reach the late void inquiry stage? Looking at Night Sorrow, Lin Yuandao said with mixed emotions. It's just that I have more resources and my cultivation is smoother, Night Sorrow said. He did not expect that Ji Yuhao's name would appear again. The two of them were destined to meet again. The grudges between them could not be resolved. It's just that I have more resources and my cultivation is smoother, Night Sorrow said. It's not about that. This is not a matter of having sufficient resources. You can't cultivate like this from now on. You need to be steady, you must be steady. You can't take any more void pills. It's fine even if you waste a few years or decades. We can afford to wait, and you can afford to consume them, Lin Yuandao said. K most, new, you supra, senior brother Lin, it's not as serious as you said. Night Sorrow's foundation is very stable. His cultivation base is also at the half-step venerable realm. As long as his cultivation base improves, there shouldn't be any problem for him to enter the venerable realm, Wu Lingfei said. His cultivation base is also high enough? Lin Yuandao looked at Night Sorrow with surprise. Aunt Fei said that I can continue to improve, Night Sorrow said. Good. That's great. Now that Lord Wu Kei has entered the venerable realm, our Tianji Tower lacks powerful venerable realm experts. After you enter the venerable realm, work hard and cultivate for some time. You will definitely be able to shoulder this responsibility, Lin Yuandao said. This is really something that makes me feel good. Guo Xiao also nodded happily. Don't worry. Night Sorrow won't disappoint you. Also, pay more attention to the missions that Night Sorrow gave you. Those are the resources he needs to rise up, Wu Lingfei said. Desolate stones can only be found in the desolate sea in the realm of unbounded desolation. Desolate stones can only be found in the desolate sea in the realm of unbounded desolation. No one has ever entered the desolate sea. We all know how much luck is required to find them. Furthermore, according to ancient records, blue sky sparrow grass can only be found in the Cyan Sparrow Mountain Range. It's hard to say whether it can be found in the Cyan Sparrow Mountain Range or not. The Tianji Tower's unlimited missions are still very attractive to adventurers, Guo Xiao said. If it was a resource that everyone needed, the Tianji Tower would have a backup. However, the barren stone and the blue-green sparrow grass were useless treasures. Love go little say ku, take your time. We'll get it eventually, Lin Yuandao said. Chief Tower Master Wu, you two stay here and cultivate. I have to go back to the headquarters and stay there. No one can stay there. Guo cupped his hands at Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei. Then, he nodded at Night Sorrow and left the mountain peak. While Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei chatted, Night Sorrow went to a place farther away to practice his spear arts and improve his cultivation base. Lin Yuandao noticed Night Sorrow's cultivation base. Even though he knew that Night Sorrow had reached a certain level, he was still shocked. Junior Marshal Sister Wu, I've discussed with the law enforcement elder and the guardian elder some time ago. We plan to appoint Night Sorrow as the young master after he enters the venerable stage, Lin Yuandao said. No, it's not fair to Linglong. Besides, Night Sorrow doesn't care about this. He's also the deputy valley master of the Medicine Valley. What does he care about? Wu Lingfei shook her head. She knew Night Sorrow well and knew that Night Sorrow didn't care about power. Junior Marshal Sister Wu, you're wrong to think that way. The Tower Master and Young Master of Tianji Tower can grasp the general direction. Don't the elders, supervisors, and guardians deal with some specific matters? I like Night Sorrow's indifferent character. As for Linglong, she's very outstanding, but she's still a far cry from Night Sorrow in terms of wisdom and tenacity, Lin Yuandao said. Senior Marshal Brother Lin may be right, but Night Sorrow has too many personal matters. If he doesn't solve them well, it's easy to drag Tianji Tower down with him, Wu Lingfei said. Is it that serious? What's going on? How can it drag Tianji Tower down with him? Lin Yuandao asked curiously. He's a descendant of the Night Moon dynasty. According to the degree of bloodline, he's very likely to be a direct descendant. Do you think he can bear such a huge grudge against the Night Moon dynasty? Wu Lingfei said. But Junior Marshal Sister Wu, have you thought about it? Even if he's not the young master, can we just watch him fight alone and watch him take risks alone? Is Tianji Tower still the Tianji Tower in our hearts? Tianji Tower is people-oriented. Unity comes first, Lin Yuandao said. That's why this is a very tangled problem. It's not appropriate for Tianji Tower to take revenge for him. Night Sorrow doesn't want this either. Hopefully, Night Moon dynasty still has potential power. If Night Sorrow fights, they'll be able to stand up for him, Wu Lingfei said. My thoughts won't change. If my decision causes Tianji Tower to suffer, then I'll take the blame. If my decision is right, then Night Sorrow will lead Tianji Tower to rise, and I'll be the hero of Tianji Tower. Lin Yuandao looked at Wu Lingfei and shook his head. He wasn't convinced by Wu Lingfei. Senior Marshal Brother, you're right about Night Sorrow. Give Night Sorrow time, and his achievements will far surpass us. It can be said that he'll reach a height that we can't imagine. Besides, he's not someone who doesn't know his limits. When has he ever caused trouble for others? Just like the matter between him and Sikong Chuyu. As long as he asks, with his identity as a heaven's emissary, Tianji Tower will have to step in, right? But he's never mentioned the matter of resources. Has he ever deliberately taken advantage of Tianji Tower? Wu Lingfei said. This is the charm of a person. He's always adhered to the principle of having no desires. Deep in his soul, he's noble and proud. There are many things that he disdains to do. This is also the reason why I insist. If I don't insist, will Junior Marshal's sister not help him when he's in trouble? That's the truth. There's no need to stick to formalities, Lin Yuandao said with a smile. This is also the charm of Senior Marshal Brother. If it weren't for my trust in Senior Marshal Brother, I wouldn't have stayed in Eastern Xian Domain without hesitation, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. In the following days, Night Sorrow cultivated as if there was no one else around. He cultivated his spear art, his supreme talent Spatial Splitter, the Hand of Desolation, and the Profound Ice Hand. Seeing Night Sorrow display one supreme skill after another, Lin Yuandao went from being shocked to being calm. He recalled Wu Lingfei's words. He hadn't misjudged Night Sorrow. In addition, Lin Yuandao also understood that Night Sorrow was a person with great fortune. Night Sorrow improved his cultivation and combat ability during the day, and cultivated his foundation at night. Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao watched Night Sorrow cultivate and felt that there was nothing that needed pointers. Half a month after Lin Yuandao's arrival, the Sky-bearing region launched a probing attack. It was the Vice City Lord of Sky-bearing City who went out to challenge him. On the eastern Xian domain and northern Sea region side, Hai Wuzhen went out to meet them. The two sides were evenly matched. The Sky-bearing region's fleet didn't come out. When they saw the densely packed group of venerables standing at the edge of the realm sea, they knew that they weren't a match. They probably couldn't even injure each other, so they retreated. Chapter 557. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. If Qingtian region retreats, they won't continue to be on alert after receiving the news. It looks like Qingtian region doesn't plan to stop the war. Love go little say. Chu Wu Lingfei looked at the camp on the edge of the realm sea and said. The current situation isn't about how many venerables Qingtian region has been killed and the Xiantian tower has been lost. If Qingtian region can't effectively attack Dongxian and the North Sea domain, then they'll lose their title as the top region of the 9 regions and their fortune, said Lin Yuandao. Then don't even think about it. We know how many invincible venerables there are in the Qingtian region. Those two won't necessarily come out to fight. Jiyu Fenglan seems to be half dead at the moment. Unless they join forces with other regions, we don't know if there are any bastards colluding with them. Wu Lingfei said. If junior sister Wu hadn't entered the Sage Realm, then Qingtian region might have been able to use the banner of the Sage Realm to find allies. But now, this move is useless, said Lin Yuandao. Whatever, we'll cultivate here and wait to see what happens. If we really can't hold on, then we'll start killing. We'll do whatever we want. Wu Lingfei wasn't a sloppy person. When it was time to kill, she wouldn't hesitate. We should leave that guy alive. If he dares to come over, we'll kill him. He'll be scared after a few times. Night Sorrow said what he had been holding back. That's not very appropriate. He said he's coming to challenge us one-on-one, said Wu Lingfei. Not everyone's words are the rules. They're already fighting. How passive would it be to listen to their rules? Both sides are enemies. Then we'll do whatever is beneficial to us. That's in line with the interests of the battlefield, said Night Sorrow. Brilliant. What they proposed is beneficial to us. That guy didn't win. If he did, then he must have a backup plan. Junior Sister Wu, you should go and explain it. They're indeed a little inflexible. It should be us who are inflexible. War is war. Do whatever is helpful to victory. That's the most reasonable thing, said Lin Yuandao after some contemplation. G's only and Y's and 6B original version, he's all F and you steal N version. This was a mistake and a blind spot. The older generation cultivators and famous cultivators cherished their reputation. For example, they didn't fight today, mainly because they didn't want to be infamous. But in reality, all actions in war were for the sake of victory. Sticking to the formalities would result in a loss. Wu Lingfei flashed to the front of the camp and gathered all the high-ranking personnel. Then, she gave them instructions. The main idea was to focus on winning the war and not to be led by the nose by the enemy. After that, Wu Lingfei returned to the mountain peak. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Lin Yuandao were drinking on the mountain peak. Concubine Fei, come, let's drink together. Yi Shang took out a bowl of wine and poured some for Wu Lingfei. I'm just talking nonsense. Master K and Auntie Fei, please don't mind, Night Sorrow said. Of course I don't mind. This is good wine. Give me another jar. Lin Yuandao was very happy. He felt that Night Sorrow's appearance was an opportunity for Tianji Tower. He believed in his own vision. After drinking, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. Now, he mainly cultivated the myriad Daos tome and soul power. Qi was the foundation. Once the foundation was complete, he could advance. Night Sorrow cultivated. Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao also began to meditate. On this day, after Night Sorrow finished cultivating his spear art, Guo came and brought something good for Night Sorrow. It was blue-green sparrow grass. The price was Tianji Tower's life spirit fluid. What made Night Sorrow a little dumbfounded was that Guo had brought more than 200 blue-green sparrow grass. According to the mission, he had to pay 200 drops of life spirit fluid. This price was too high. Why are you dumbfounded? Guo looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow rubbed his forehead and said, so many herbs. The price I have to pay is a little heavy. So that's the problem. Do you think I'm stupid, or do you think the people of Tianji Tower are stupid? Our mission is to get 20 blue-green sparrow grass. The price is 1 drop of life spirit fluid for each blue-green sparrow grass, or 10 high-grade spirit stones. If you exceed this limit, then you don't need it. If you want it, you'll buy it at a low price. So, these blue-green sparrow grass are 20 drops of life spirit fluid and 200 high-grade spirit stones. It's that simple. Is this price okay? Guo said with a smile. That's great. That's great. Chief Inspector Guo scared me just now. If I really need 200 drops of life spirit fluid, I'll have to find a place where no one is around and cry. Night Sorrow said self-deprecatingly. Then, he gave the jade bottle containing 20 drops of life spirit fluid and 2 top-level spirit stones to Guo. He was too lazy to take out a pile of high-grade spirit stones. Guo said to Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei with a smile. He took out the top-level spirit stones without batting an eyelid. Our celestial emissary has a deep family background. Wu Lingfei said with some emotion, his family background is really deep. As a concubine, I'm all thanks to him. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had the chance to enter the Saint Realm. Lin Yuandao said, isn't it the same for me? Otherwise, how could I have had the chance? It's too difficult to comprehend the rules. Guo sighed and said, Chief Tower Master and Master Wu are lucky. Night Sorrow has a water attribute source stone, while Elderly and I have a fire attribute source stone. I don't know when we'll have a chance. Guo sighed and said. This was indeed a matter of opportunity. It had nothing to do with the status of Chief Tower Master and Chief Inspector. It was all about luck. Actually, Chief Inspector Guo's opportunity has also arrived. Night Sorrow thought for a while and felt that he couldn't use the fire attribute source stone for the time being. He could lend it to Tianji Tower. After making the decision, Night Sorrow took out the box containing the fire attribute source stone and handed it to Guo. Wu Lingfei had known for a long time that Night Sorrow had a fire attribute source stone, but she didn't want to get involved in this matter because it was Night Sorrow's opportunity and resources. Night Sorrow could make all the decisions. Whoever Night Sorrow gave it to would have their opportunity. This opportunity and incense could only be given to others by Night Sorrow. It was not something that Wu Lingfei could decide. Just now, when Guo said that he had a fire attribute, Wu Lingfei had a hunch that Night Sorrow would take it out. I don't know where my opportunity is. What is this? Guo held the box and asked Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei. How would I know? Lin Yuandao said with a smile. You'll know when you open it, Wu Lingfei said. Of course, she couldn't show that she knew. It wasn't appropriate. Then let's see what Night Sorrow took out. Guo smiled at Night Sorrow and opened the box. Chapter 558. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Small? Shoa.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. After opening the box again, Guo hands trembled a little. At this time, he was sure what Night Sorrow had given him. It was a heaven-defying opportunity. After closing the box, Guo took a deep breath and handed the box to Lin Yuandao. Chief K Master will arrange this. How do you want me to arrange it? Lin Yuandao was stunned. Elderly may need it more than me. Chief K Master will see how to communicate with Night Sorrow and let Elderly use it first, Guo said. Lin Yuandao, who did not take the box, looked at Night Sorrow seriously and said, Night Sorrow, we have 2 peak venerables with the fire attribute in Tianji Tower. See if you can borrow us twice. You can name the price. As long as Tianji Tower can do it, there will be no problem. I didn't think of asking for anything when I took it out. Night Sorrow admires Chief Inspector Gua for being considerate of elderly. I don't need any payment. After Chief Inspector Gua uses it, elderly can use it again and return it to me. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Yuandao and Gua Xiao and said. You may not know this, but the origin stone can't be used indefinitely. When the user uses it for the first and second time, they can ensure that the origin stone will not be damaged if they are careful. However, if it is invaded by soul power for a long time, it will still affect the origin stone. No matter how careful the third person is, the origin stone will be damaged after use. The effect of the rule force will disappear and it will become a crystal with purer energy, Lin Yuandao said. I see. Then it doesn't matter. Chief Inspector Gua can use it. After listening to Lin Yuandao's explanation, Night Sorrow did not change his decision. But what about the price? Night Sorrow, you should tell us, Lin Yuandao asked. I am a member of Tianji Tower. It is my duty to contribute to Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow said. Lin Yuandao exhaled, his heart filled with a myriad of emotions. When Night Sorrow went to Tianji Tower's headquarters to serve as the Night Sorrow's envoy, Lin Yuandao was looking forward to the day when Night Sorrow would say that he was a member of Tianji Tower. But now that Night Sorrow had said it, Lin Yuandao felt a little depressed. There was an indescribable feeling in his heart, because it was now Tianji Tower that owed Night Sorrow, and the debt was too great. Chief K, what should we do? Gua Xiao looked at Lin Yuandao and asked. Night Sorrow didn't want any reward, so he couldn't bear to take the fire element origin stone. However, he also felt that it was inappropriate to take it. He wasn't someone who would take advantage of juniors. Even if you ask me, I don't know what to do. Lin Yuandao was very excited, but he didn't know what to do. Love go little say ku, Chief Inspector Gua, take it and cultivate first. The most important thing is to improve the strength of Tianji Tower. As for the internal affairs, who is at a disadvantage and who is taking advantage of others, so what? Wu Lingfei said. Okay, then I'll be thick-skinned and use it first. Gua Xiao nodded. Then Night Sorrow congratulates Chief Inspector Gua for successfully taking the first step. After Chief Inspector Gua uses it, just send it to elderly, Night Sorrow said to Gua Xiao. I accept your congratulations. Chief K, after I go into seclusion, there will be no one to oversee the headquarters. How about we call Guardian Li back to the headquarters first? Gua Xiao asked. Currently, he was overseeing the headquarters. If he went into seclusion to comprehend the fire element rule power, there would be no one to oversee the headquarters. Okay, and also, the headquarters is a little empty. Order the first base to transfer some Dark Shadow Hall members back to the headquarters. The Dark Tower must be safe, Lin Yuandao said. Gua Xiao cupped his hands at Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei, smiled at Night Sorrow, and then left. Junior Sister Wu, what's going on? Lin Yuandao still hadn't calmed down. Love go little say W, Chu, Night Sorrow has extra origin stones in his hands. Now he's taking out the second one, Wu Lingfei said. This is okay? Night Sorrow, you're trying to create a few saints for Tianji Tower. This is the rhythm of an era, Lin Yuandao said. Except for Wu Lingfei, although the other big shots of Tianji Tower weren't invincible venerables, they were still peak venerables. This was the foundation of Tianji Tower. No matter how strong a venerable was, as long as there was no opportunity, no medium to comprehend the rules, or no special environment, there would never be a chance to enter the Saint Realm. Night Sorrow gave Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao an opportunity, and the two of them grasped it and successfully entered the Saint Realm. Now Gua Xiao and Lutrin Swan also had this opportunity. As for whether they could grasp it or not, it was their own problem. However, the lowest achievement was still a half-step saint. This matter didn't affect Night Sorrow much. He felt that as long as he didn't need it, he would give it to the people around him. As for the Medicine Valley, Hua Yunpeng and Yu Yangyu had just entered the Venerable Realm. They were still far from mastering the rules and reaching the Saint Realm. In order not to disturb Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei, Knight Sorrow went to a place far away from the tent to practice the Hand of Desolation. I don't know how to describe this guy. He took out the origin stones just like that. This is too generous. This time, you won't object to my decision, right? I believe the others won't object either. Lin Yuandao was still thinking about the future of Tianji Tower. Let's wait until he enters the Venerable Realm. Wu Lingfei said. Last time, Guardian Li probed his spirit sea and was almost injured. Knight Sorrow should have a deeper trump card. If it weren't for this, I would also like to probe his spirit sea, Lin Yuandao said. Wu Lingfei smiled and didn't say anything. That was Knight Sorrow's most ruthless trump card. In front of the Void Fate Pearl, the space-time pagoda was not enough. After practicing the Hand of Desolation for a while, Knight Sorrow continued to cultivate his realm. With the improvement of his soul power and his own comprehension, Knight Sorrow's oneness of heaven and man realm was also rapidly improving. Now, the range of energy he could control was 30 feet around him. This was the true oneness of heaven and man realm. In other words, Knight Sorrow's realm was now in the Venerable Realm. He could now control the energy around his body to suppress the opponent and use spatial shackles. However, because his cultivation was not enough, the suppression and shackles were not very strong. That night, after cultivating until the second half of the night, Knight Sorrow found that the soul power in his spirit sea was saturated. This was a sign that it was about to enter the liquid state. However, Knight Sorrow also knew that if he wanted to liquefy his soul power, it couldn't be done by simple natural cultivation. He had to make a breakthrough and his soul had to undergo a metamorphosis. Update, latest, fast, go. That was the promotion. Just like the promotion of spiritual chi, the mist-like soul power had to be compressed and condensed. Only then could it enter the liquid state. Knight Sorrow had been looking forward to this step for a long time. This was because the Dark Spirit Saint's ultimate move, Soul Destruction / required the liquid state of mind as the foundation. Knight Sorrow was very much looking forward to an ultimate move that could attack the soul. He had seen many experts, but no one had used an ultimate move that could attack the soul. Once he cultivated the Soul Destruction / it would be a big killer move, and a very sharp one at that. After dawn, Knight Sorrow said goodbye to Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei and said that he was going into seclusion. Chapter 559. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Chief K Master, I'm not going to advance my true chi. I've made some progress in other areas and need to sort it out. Baidu search love go xiao shua www.aichuxs.com. Knight Sorrow laughed. So that's how it is. Remember, you have to move forward steadily. Don't take too big of a step. You're still young and you don't lack time. Lin Yuandao reminded Knight Sorrow. After bowing to Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao, Knight Sorrow returned to his tent and began to cultivate. He wasn't in a hurry to make a breakthrough. Instead, he circulated his spiritual strength to stabilize it. After settling down for 2 days, Knight Sorrow confirmed that his soul power was indeed saturated and could not be increased any further. Thus, he began his true breakthrough. Knight Sorrow compressed his soul power towards the center of his deity sea. He wanted to compress it to an extreme and cause his soul power to undergo a qualitative change. As Knight Sorrow circulated his soul power, his ethereal fate pearl flashed and appeared above Knight Sorrow's divine sea. Knight Sorrow was relieved that the heavenly fate orb of nothingness was no longer causing trouble. He began to compress his soul power. The advancement of Knight Sorrow's soul power was the same as the advancement of true chi from chi refining to essence gathering. The only difference was that soul power was harder to control than true chi. As Knight Sorrow squeezed with all his strength, Knight Sorrow's pure soul power began to compress towards the center of his spirit sea. As time passed, Night Sorrow continued to compress his soul power. However, the situation was a little different from what he had expected. The compression of his soul power was not so smooth. It was already very condensed, but there was still no qualitative change. Gritting his teeth, Night Sorrow continued to compress with all his strength. When the soul energy that filled his spirit sea was compressed dozens of times, a drop of purple liquid soul energy appeared in the middle. Then, like a chain reaction, the mist-like soul power that approached the drop of liquid soul power was quickly assimilated, turning into purple droplets of soul power. Slowly, a small purple lake appeared in Night Sorrow's spirit sea. The purple lake slowly rotated. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. Xiaom the heavenly fate pearl of nothingness bobbed up and down in the waves caused by the swirling liquid soul power. Promotion successful. Night Sorrow was overjoyed. This was a milestone in the cultivation of soul force. After sitting quietly for a while, Night Sorrow walked out of the tent. Lin Yuandao looked at Yi Shang from head to toe and asked, "Your eyes are like lightning, flashing with divine light. Yi Shang, has your soul power improved?" "There's been some improvement." Night Sorrow nodded. "Liquefied?" Wu Lingfei asked. "Although it took a lot of effort, I still managed to complete the liquid transformation," Night Sorrow said. Wu Lingfei nodded. Although she had guessed that Night Sorrow's spiritual strength had advanced, she was still extremely shocked. Back then, she had reached this realm when she was only a mid-level saint. Liquefied soul force? Wu Lingfei wasn't the only one who was shocked. Lin Yuandao was also very surprised. He couldn't believe what he had heard, so he asked. "I just completed the transformation." Night Sorrow took out wine bowls and poured wine for the three of them. While the three of them were drinking, 3 spaceships appeared from the realm sea. After the airships passed over the realm sea, dozens of venerables appeared and rushed toward the eastern Xian region and northern Sea region's camp. There are 3 peak venerables and quite a few late-stage venerables. "They should be venerables from the 3 origin region," Lin Yuandao said. "Although there will be losses, we should be able to hold on." Wu Lingfei didn't intend to take action. She hadn't come to kill the venerables, but to target Ji Yuhaitian. If Ji Yuhaitian didn't take action, she wouldn't do anything. That would give Ji Yuhaitian an excuse to kill. Night Sorrow saw what cruelty was. The venerables from both sides began to fight to the death in the sky. The venerables who were usually high and mighty and stood at the peak of cultivators were very weak here. There were venerables who were killed from time to time. The strongest venerables from the eastern Xian region and northern Sea region was Hua Haining, followed by Hai Wuzhen, Kuan Nan, and Lei Hua. However, Night Sorrow found that Qin Nan's killing intent was very strong. Whenever she met an opponent who could contend with her, she wouldn't fight. Instead, she would change opponents and kill low-level venerables. She wanted to injure them. "Junior Sister Wu, your Eastern Xian region's commander's battle awareness is very strong. Her cultivation isn't outstanding, but her battle awareness is very strong," Lin Yuandao said. "Senior brother Lin, you might not know, but she has been with me for many years and participated in many battles. I just didn't bring her into Tianji Tower." Wu Lingfei introduced Qin Nan's situation. This time, there were no venerables who could sweep through all opponents, so there were many stalemates. There were almost no battles that could be decided in a short time. The battle lasted for 4 hours. The stalemate was broken when Hua Haining killed his opponent. After killing his opponent, Hua Haining and Hai Wuzhen killed Hai Wuzhen's opponent, who was also a peak venerables from the Qingtian region. The 2 peak venerables from the Qingtian region were killed, which completely established the foundation for the victory of the Eastern Xian region, Northern Sea region, and Tianji Tower. Slowly, their advantage increased. The battle lasted for half a day. It started in the morning and ended at noon. Only half of the Qingtian region's people returned, and more than 20 venerables were killed. However, the Eastern Xian region and the Northern Sea region had also suffered losses. Some low-level venerables had died in battle. 7 venerables had died in battle. This was the damage done by the Qingtian region's venerables before Hua Haining had killed his opponent. Not bad, this result is acceptable. Wu Lingfei nodded as the battle came to an end. Original, first release afterward, Hua Haining, Kuan Nan, and Hai Wuzhen came to report the situation. Compensate the families of the dead generously, and increase the rewards for the injured. As long as they contribute to the battle, we won't treat them unfairly, said Wu Lingfei. I'll take care of that. Hua Haining nodded. Wu Lingfei thought for a moment and made another arrangement. Divide the seized resources equally between the 3 sides. Send out scouts to continue scouting. As long as they don't retreat, we'll block them here and kill them if they come. Hua Haining, Kuan Nan, and Hai Wuzhen nodded and went to deal with the aftermath. Looking at the somewhat dilapidated campsite, Yi Shang felt somewhat emotional. In just one day, so many supremacies had fallen. This was simply unimaginable. It had to be known that in the eastern Xian region, as long as there were venerables, they could become a superpower. This showed how rare venerables were. Don't you think it's cruel? War is like this. If you don't want your people to suffer, if you don't want them to die, then you have to kill. At this point, everyone is helpless. Wu Lingfei stood next to Knight Sorrow, who was overlooking the battlefield. But in the end, it's because I took the space-time pagoda that caused this disaster, said Knight Sorrow somewhat apologetically. Chapter 560. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. If they use the space-time pagoda to fight, it will be a nightmare for us. If their saint takes control of the space-time pagoda, the consequences will be even more severe. It will take the lives of your Auntie Fei and I. Tell me, is it worth it for you to provoke this disaster? Lin Yuandao said. Like Wu Lingfei, he was afraid that Knight Sorrow would have a knot in his heart, which would be troublesome. Knight Sorrow nodded. I understand. The trouble this time was worth it, Knight Sorrow said. To the invaders, war is about plundering and conquering. But to the resistors, it's about fighting for peace, Wu Lingfei said to Knight Sorrow. Auntie Fei, I understand. You don't have to worry. I'm fine. This didn't affect me. I'm going to cultivate. Knight Sorrow got up and walked towards the outside of the mountain. He wanted to practice the soul extinguishing slash that he yearned for. Knight Sorrow liked the name soul extinguishing slash very much. The main reason was that soul extinguishing slash was a combat technique that could slay saints. After leaving Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei's tent, Knight Sorrow took out a copy of the soul extinguishing slash and began to read it. The soul annihilation slash had a high cultivation requirement. It had to have liquid soul power as the foundation. The cultivation method was to condense the soul into a blade and attack the opponent's spirit sea, directly shattering the opponent's spirit sea. Once the spirit sea shattered, the opponent would be dead. Love Go Little Say Ku. The most difficult part of cultivating soul annihilation slash was cultivating soul energy into a soul energy blade. After looking at the soul energy condensation technique, Knight Sorrow sat down cross-legged and began cultivating. Knight Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. Now that he had the foundation, it was only a matter of time before he succeeded. This cultivation lasted for 4 days. In 4 days, Yi Shang used his soul power to condense a small crescent moon that was very similar to Wu Lingfei's polar moon disk. The heavenly fate pearl that was originally floating in the sea of soul ran to the empty space in the middle of the crescent moon blade after it was formed. Now that the first step was completed, it meant that he had completed his foundation training. Next up, Knight Sorrow needed to train his attack proficiency. It was at this moment that a bird's cry rang out in the sky. A mid-third gray gull flew over the mountain peak, probably intending to search for fish in the realm sea. With a thought, Knight Sorrow sent out a soul-extinguishing slash. Within the deity sea, Knight Sorrow could feel the shape and color of the crescent blade. However, outside the deity sea, the crescent blade was invisible and colorless. Only its master, Knight Sorrow, could sense the crescent blade's existence. Without making a sound, the gray gull fell from the sky. Night Sorrow's soul extinguishing slash had shattered its unactivated deity C and killed it. Whether it was human cultivators or Yao beasts, they all had souls. It was just that only high-level human cultivators and Yao beasts could activate their deity C. However, that didn't mean that those who hadn't opened their deity C didn't have a soul. The soul still existed, but in an unactivated deity C, it was very weak. Holding the gray gull's corpse, Night Sorrow inspected it. He found that the soul extinguishing slash's invisible attack was very terrifying. If one's soul power was weak and didn't have any defensive abilities, they would be killed instantly. They wouldn't even have the ability to resist. The cultivation was a success. As for proficiency and attack power, it would take time to improve. Carrying the gray gull to the side and cleaning it up, Night Sorrow returned to a place not far from the tent and started a fire to roast the meat. You've been cultivating for several days at a time. When you need to relax, you should relax. Lin Yuandao looked at Night Sorrow and said. He admired Night Sorrow's persistence. It was very difficult for ordinary cultivators to cultivate for 4 days at a time. Wu Lingfei smiled at Night Sorrow but didn't say anything. She was very satisfied with Night Sorrow's cultivation progress, mainly his attitude towards cultivation. Eating the roasted gray gull meat, the three of them chatted casually. Night Sorrow was also aware of the current situation. The Sky Pillar region had suffered 2 losses in a row, which made them angry out of humiliation. They didn't retreat at all and were still contacting their allies. Needless to say, they really managed to contact the Western Nether region. After the Qingtian region conquered the 3 Nether region, they had colluded with the Western Nether region, which was close to the 3 Nether region. This time, in exchange for the Western Nether region's troops to fight, the Qingtian region had offered some of the 3 Nether region's territory to the Western Nether region to develop. That means their next attack will be stronger than the last one, Night Sorrow said with some worry. Maybe. So what? I've already informed Deputy Palace Master Tai Shuyan. She's the city lord of the North Sea City. Although she's not an invincible venerable, her strength is infinitely close to it, Lin Yuandao said. Looking at the situation of the last battle, it was the battle between the top troops that decided the outcome, Night Sorrow said. Senior brother Lin, if the 2 invincible venerables of the Qingtian region attack, you'll need to suppress your cultivation to fight. Otherwise, no one will be able to stop them, Wu Lingfei said. Chief Palace Master has entered the Sage Realm. If he participates in the battle and Ji Yu Haitian knows about it, it will be troublesome. Our Eastern Xian region and North Sea region can't bear Ji Yu Haitian's bottom line, Night Sorrow said. But we can't watch the Qingtian region slaughter our venerables. Wu Lingfei was also somewhat helpless. If they couldn't restrain the attack of the invincible venerables, it would be a disaster for the other defenders. Night Sorrow did not interrupt them again. In such a situation, he also could not come up with any good solutions. Don't worry. The Western Nether region has joined the battle, but the Qingtian region doesn't seem to have the confidence to win. They might even look for helpers. Therefore, the next battle won't come so soon, Lin Yuandao said. Night Sorrow knew that he could not help in this matter. After nodding at Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao, he returned to the tent and continued to condense the soul extinguishing slash and the half-moon energy slash. Night Sorrow cultivated for 3 to 4 days. While he was cultivating the soul extinguishing slash, Night Sorrow's true chi cultivation base had almost settled down. He could advance to the 8th level of the Void Inquiry stage at any time. Wzheng 6/edition $1, F#, it was an extremely terrifying achievement. In the Medicine Valley, except for a few Supreme Elders, there was almost no one with a higher cultivation base than him. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow did not tell Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei about the situation. Instead, he directly began to circulate the true qi in his dantian to condense the 8th true qi halo. This guy still couldn't hold himself back and went to advance his cultivation base. Fortunately, his foundation is solid. There shouldn't be any problems. Lin Yuandao said. Night Sorrow is not a reckless person. His true qi cultivation base is indeed solid. Senior brother Lin, you don't have to worry. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. After spending 2 days, Night Sorrow managed to condense the 8th true qi halo. This also indicated that Night Sorrow had advanced to the 8th level of the Void Inquiry stage. After advancing his cultivation base, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate the myriad Tao text and his soul power while stabilizing his cultivation base. Night Sorrow's soul power evolved from a misty state to a liquid state. The quality of his soul power improved. At the same time, there was also space in his spirit sea. With Shao Kong's assistance, Night Sorrow's soul power improved very quickly. While Night Sorrow was stabilizing his cultivation base, Wu Lingfei's figure flashed and arrived at the front of the campsite. Then, she reported the current situation. The people of the Western Nether region are really despicable. Aren't they just looking for trouble? They killed as soon as they came. Tai Shu Yen, who had already arrived, said. Chapter 561. Genius 1 Second Remember Love Go divided by Shao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Hua Haining, Tai Shu Yen, and the others nodded. They were all people who had experienced great storms and waves. They knew that strength was important in such a war, but if they got the news in advance, they wouldn't be passive. Baidu search AI Go female sign Shao say www.aichuxs. Xiaom Hua Haining and Tai Shu Yan's status in Tianji Tower was lower than Wu Lingfei's, so they had to listen to her orders. In addition, Wu Lingfei was now an expert who was 1 level higher than them. In the cultivation world, the strong were respected. Just because Wu Lingfei was a saint, they had to respect her. Then Wu Lingfei returned to the mountain peak. She was still a little worried that the Qingtian domain would send invincible venerables to fight. If that happened, the battle would be difficult. Invincible venerables were definitely top-grade venerables, but top-grade venerables were not just invincible venerables. Those who could obtain the title of invincible venerables could defeat cultivators of the same rank. They had been proven through countless battles. They either grasped high-level attributes, grasped the ultimate attributes of ordinary attributes, or cultivated a special achievement in a certain direction. There were 2 invincible venerables in the Qingtian domain. One was Wu Di, a rogue cultivator, and the other was Xue Wuling, the patriarch of a small family. Wu Di's name was a homonym of invincible. He had mastered the ultimate attribute of the fire attribute. Xue Wuling cultivated the wind attribute. Although it wasn't the ultimate attribute, he had cultivated his speed to the extreme. There was a man called Venerable Wu Hen who had cultivated his speed to the extreme. He had defeated many venerables with his speed. Junior Sister Wu, are you worried that they will send invincible venerables to fight? Wu Di and Xue Wuling aren't brainless people. They won't fight just because the Qingtian domain asked them to. Besides, we're not going to fight the Qingtian domain, Lin Yuandao said, looking at Wu Lingfei, who was standing with her hands behind her back. Xue Wuling fought with me once. Because it wasn't a life-and-death battle, I didn't hurt him. He might not fight, but it's hard to say about Wu Di. According to his past, he's a battle maniac, Wu Lingfei said. Wu Di is indeed like that. If Sky-bearing City and Ji Yu's family give him benefits, he might fight. Besides, the Western Nether region is full of crazy people. Most of them cultivate the darkness attribute. They won't be easy to deal with, said Lin Yuandao. The Sikong clan also has 2 experts, but they probably won't fight. Now, the focus is on the Western Nether region. Shi Wuji isn't a good guy, Wu Lingfei said after thinking for a while. That Shi Wuji is probably not an invincible venerable, but his level is close. Lin Yuandao nodded. If I hadn't entered the Saint Plane, I would have been able to kill them. Now that I've entered the Saint Plane, it would have been troublesome, said Wu Lingfei. This was the importance of an invincible venerable. Whichever region had an invincible venerable was a great deterrent to the other regions. This was also why Wu Lingfei and the others had high hopes for Night Sorrow. Don't think like that, junior sister. If you hadn't entered the Saint Plane, we would have lost the moment Ji Yu and Hai Tian fought, said Lin Yuandao. Our Northern Sea Domain's Northern Sky Sword Venerable, Bei Tian Gu, won't fight. Junior sister can't do anything about it, said Tai Shu Yen as she came to Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei's side. Bei Tian Gu is probably worried about bringing disaster to the Bei Tian clan, said Wu Lingfei. Yes, he replied that if there is a war in the Northern Sea Domain, he will definitely fight. He has the responsibility to protect the Northern Sea Domain, but he has no obligation to fight. He knows very well that even if he refuses the City Lord's estate, the City Lord's estate can't do anything to him, nor will they do anything to him. However, if he offends Sky-bearing City or Ji Yu's family, his family's descendants will be assassinated, said Tai Shu Yen. There's no way to force him. Besides, his decision can't be considered wrong, said Lin Yuandao with a sigh. At the level of invincible venerables, if you have fear in your heart, you won't have an indomitable spirit. It will be difficult for you to improve in the future, Wu Lingfei said. After she finished speaking, Wu Lingfei looked at the sky. At this moment, a figure appeared in the sky. The figure was like a sword piercing through the air, directly cutting through the space station and arriving in front of Wu Lingfei and the others. Senior Golden Phoenix is right. If there's fear in your heart, how can you improve? Most importantly, Sky-bearing City is too shameless. It was a middle-aged man wearing a pure white battle robe. His silver hair fluttered in the wind, his eyebrows were sword-like, and his eyes were bright. He looked to be in his 30s or 40s. His most special feature was the 4-foot-long sword on his back. He was the invincible venerable of the Northern Sky Clan, Bei Tian Gu. The only version of L, the other 6, he all, is a pirated version. What happened? Asked Tai Shu Yen. I originally said that I wouldn't fight if the Northern Sea Domain was stable, but the people of Sky-bearing City still killed 2 outstanding juniors of my Bei Tian clan. They said that if I dared to fight, they would kill all the potential members of the Bei Tian clan. This is too despicable, too shameless, said Bei Tian Gu coldly. Indeed. Bei Tian Gu, are you planning to fight? Asked Tai Shu Yen. If I don't fight, why would I come here? Besides, I'll think about it. Defending one's homeland and expanding one's territory are the same. If I don't fight, Sky-bearing City will really think that I'm afraid. Bei Tian Gu directly expressed his willingness to fight. Then we'll definitely win this war, said Wu Lingfei. I've always wanted to fight Senior Golden Phoenix. Senior Golden Phoenix. It seems that I won't have the chance, said Bei Tian Gu as he looked at Wu Lingfei, who was wearing a veil. Before Bei Tian Gu appeared, Wu Lingfei had already put on the veil. Do we have a grudge? Wu Lingfei frowned as she looked at Bei Tian Gu. No grudge. I just think that only Senior Golden Phoenix can be regarded as a real invincible venerable. The others are not worthy. By the way, you are all people of Tianji Tower. Our Northern Sea Domain is also participating in the war. The City Lord is also a member of Tianji Tower. After the war, you should also give some benefits to our Northern Sea Domain. Bei Tian Gu said as he opened a wine jug and drank directly. You are not the City Lord, but you care about the City Lord's heart. Why don't I give you the City Lord position? Tai Shu Yen looked at Bei Tian Gu and threw out a sentence. I'm telling the truth. Why are you so agitated, City Lord Tai Shu? Besides, Tianji Tower won't lose anything by developing in the Northern Sea Domain. It's a good thing for our Northern Sea Domain and your Tai Shu clan. Bei Tian Gu looked at Tai Shu Yen very seriously. I'm not agitated. I'm telling the truth. If you want to contribute to the Northern Sea Domain, what's the point of being the City Lord? If you have any ideas, you can talk to Tianji Tower directly, said Tai Shu Yen. What she said was her true thoughts. She was really tired of being the City Lord of Northern Sea City and the Branch Lord of Tianji Tower. City Lord Tai Shu, don't joke around. Let's not hide it. You are not the City Lord, and Tianji Tower will not care about our Northern Sea domain. I'm just saying this to fight for some development opportunities for the Northern Sea domain. There's no other meaning, said Bei Tiangu. Chapter 562. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Aren't you just trying to squeeze me? Bei Tiangu was a little depressed because he was stumped by Tai Shu Yan's words. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com. The North Sea region belongs to everyone. The North Sea region belongs to the Bei Tian family and the Deshu family. Why should I lead the charge while you all wait behind? Why didn't your Bei Tian clan get 2 of the Taiwa territory cities? Tai Shu Yan pointed at Bei Tiangu and roared. I admit that, but your position as city lord was appointed by the old city lord, who is also my uncle. Everyone in the Northern Sea region agrees with that. I will not go against the decision of my family's ancestors. You don't have to say anything more. That's impossible. Bei Tiangu spoke of some unknown matters in the Northern Sea region. Then Vice City Lord should be fine, right? If that doesn't work, then I won't care either. I'm the Deputy Chief of Tianji Tower. No matter what happens in the North Sea region, the Deshu family still has a foothold. If you don't care, then what's the point of me caring? Her attitude was very clear. She wanted to tie Bei Tiangu to the war chariot of the city lord's office, and tie him to the current alliance camp. The people of the Qingtian region have no bottom line. Tai Shu Yan, you're not much worse. If I don't agree, you can do anything. I'm just shooting myself in the foot. I can only accept it, Bei Tiangu said with a bitter face. Since Brother Bei Tian is one of the leaders of the North Sea region, there are some matters between the Tianji Tower and the North Sea region that you need to participate in. How about I invite you to be a guest elder at the Tianji Tower? Lin Yuandao asked. You guys are out to scam me. I don't know if it was right or wrong for me to come out this time. But since I'm here, I'll accept it all. Bei Tiangu hesitated for a moment before agreeing. This was because it was beneficial to him, the Bei Tian clan, and the Heaven's Extreme Tower. Junior Marshal Sister Wu, ask Night Sorrow for some wine. Lin Yuandao was very happy to hear Bei Tiangu's answer and remembered Night Sorrow's good wine. At this moment, Night Sorrow was brandishing his reincarnation spear and cultivating his intent realm. His soul power had been upgraded to the liquid state, and Night Sorrow's control over the energy of the heavens and the earth was getting stronger and stronger. Late Void Inquiry Stage. The Venerable Realm. Bei Tiangu muttered. His body flashed, and the long sword on his back was pointed at Night Sorrow's front without unsheathing it. Bei Tiangu was extremely fast. The sheathed longsword in his hand instantly cut through the energy in the area controlled by Night Sorrow. The sheathed longsword stabbed towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, who had put all his efforts into cultivation, had no distractions in his cultivation. He didn't know that Bei Tiangu had arrived, but when the attack came, he instinctively reacted. He retreated, exerted strength in his waist, and directly used the 7-star glorious moon spear. Asterisk clang. Asterisk with a crisp sound, Night Sorrow's 7 spears combined into one. The spear which was called the glorious moon spear clashed with Bei Tiangu's sheathed longsword. Both of their weapons clashed. Next, they began to exert their strength. Night Sorrow used his true chi to display the vibration force. The energy of the myriad Tao treasure tome followed closely behind and displayed the wave force. The energy ripples on the spear and the sword spread in all directions. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. At this moment, Bei Tiangu was extremely shocked. When the energy of Night Sorrow's myriad Tao treasure tome rushed towards him, his late void inquiry stage true chi cultivation base could not withstand it. He directly increased his cultivation base to the early venerable realm. Then, he used his arm to push Night Sorrow back. After giving Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei a glance and seeing that they had no intention of stopping him, Knight Sorrow wielded his reincarnation spear and began to attack Bei Tiangu. Knight Sorrow used the 3 types of energy unleashing techniques. The 2 types of energy in his body were used alternately. The rhythm of his attacks was very fast and violent. Wave after wave of attacks rushed towards Bei Tiangu. Bei Tiangu's defense was very stable. He casually waved his sword and blocked all of Knight Sorrow's attacks. However, he was currently using his early Venerable Realm cultivation base. Knight Sorrow, deal with him. Teach him a lesson. Taishu Yen shouted from the other side. She wanted to see Bei Tiangu suffer. Knight Sorrow nodded at Taishu Yen. After sending out the 7 stars glorious moon spear, he approached Bei Tiangu and used his left hand to perform the profound jade hand. Bei Tiangu did the same. He blocked Knight Sorrow's reincarnation spear with his longsword. Then, he raised his left hand and sent a palm strike at Knight Sorrow's left hand. Asterisk bang. Asterisk with a loud explosion, Knight Sorrow was pushed back. Bei Tiangu's upper body swayed a little. If I have offended you, I will drink with you and apologize after the battle. Knight Sorrow rushed forward. He waved his reincarnation spear and rushed towards Bei Tiangu again. Then, he used his left hand to perform the profound jade hand again. Little guy, you can't do this. You can't offend me. If you want to offend me, you have to work harder, Bei Tiangu said with a smile. You're asking for trouble, Wu Lingfei muttered. Wu Lingfei muttered. Others might not know, but she knew that Yi Shan was only displaying his ordinary strength. He had yet to use his ultimate move. Knight Sorrow took a deep breath. Then, his innate bloodline energy erupted. He used the spatial crack to cut towards Bei Tiangu. An ear-piercing screech was heard. After Knight Sorrow's spatial crack energy cut through space, it cut towards Bei Tiangu. An ultimate move that doesn't use both hands. What the hell is this? Bei Tiangu shouted. He waved the long sword in his hand. Countless sword chi was released, forming a sword chi wall. The sword chi wall and the spatial crack energy collided, emitting violent energy waves. Knight Sorrow continued to rush forward. He could control the energy around his body. He was not afraid that the energy would sputter and hurt him. When he was in front of Bei Tiangu, Knight Sorrow waved the reincarnation spear in his right hand. The 7-star glorious moon spear was released. Then, he circulated the power of desolates to his left hand and slapped out. Bei Tiangu unfolded his longsword and blocked Knight Sorrow's reincarnation spear. However, a strong spiral force entered his longsword, causing his arm to tremble. He was using the energy of a beginner venerable. It was still difficult for him to block the 7-star glorious moon spear that was activated by Knight Sorrow's spiral force. It could be said that he was at a disadvantage. Bei Tiangu raised his left hand and slapped towards Knight Sorrow's left hand. Little guy, don't be fooled by your dancing. In the face of absolute strength, everything is useless. Currently, Bei Tiangu was using the cultivation base of a 2nd-level venerable. Even if he relied on the suppression of his cultivation base, he would not be able to gain any advantage. Therefore, he increased the output of his cultivation base. That's not necessarily true. Knight Sorrow circulated the power of desolates to his left hand. A yellow halo appeared on his originally ordinary left hand. Before Knight Sorrow and Bei Tiangu's hands touched, there was already a strange phenomenon. The scene on Knight Sorrow's left hand changed. The energy in Bei Tiangu's left hand was quickly draining away. The energy in his hand dropped from a 2nd-level venerable to a 1st-level venerable to a 9th-level void inquiry stage expert. When it collided with Knight Sorrow's left hand, the energy in his palm became a 9th-level void inquiry stage expert. Asterisk bang asterisk with a muffled sound, the two of them were separated. Knight Sorrow's body was so strong that it did not matter if his feet were planted on the ground. On the other hand, Bei Tiangu was pushed back 6 Zhang asterisk 3, 33M per Zhang. Asterisk his star. Chapter 563. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What kind of ultimate move is this? Bai Tiangu was a little depressed. He had already displayed the cultivation of a second-level martial saint, but he was still repelled by night sorrow. He didn't understand what was going on. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. Bai Tiangu raised his cultivation level to level 3 venerable. The long sword in his right hand was covered in green energy as he set up a defense. A hissing sound was heard again. Even though Bai Tiangu used his wind attribute to block Yishang's spatial rend, his wind attribute was unable to block Yishang's spatial rend. Night Sorrow's spatial rend once again created a gap in the sword aura wall. Although the gap wasn't big, it was enough for Night Sorrow to use. Night Sorrow rushed to the front of the gap and used the Hand of Desolation with his left hand. The reincarnation spear was infused with vibration energy to shake the sword aura wall. Love go little say ku, senior sister Wu, is he still a void inquiry stage cultivator? This is the perfect definition of valiance. Tai Shu Yan's heart was greatly shaken. Night Sorrow's combat techniques, awareness and ability had already subverted his understanding of void inquiry stage cultivators. In the eyes of a venerable realm expert, everyone below the venerable realm was just an ant. However, Night Sorrow fought against Bai Tiangu, who was at the 8th level of the void inquiry stage and was already at the 3rd level of the venerable realm. One should know that Bai Tiangu was not an ordinary venerable realm expert. He was at the level of an unrivaled venerable realm expert. If he was not strong, he would not have said that the other unrivaled venerable realm experts did not deserve this title. While Tai Shu Yan was talking, Night Sorrow's left hand landed on Bai Tiangu's sheathed longsword. Most of the sharp sword chi was neutralized by Night Sorrow's power of desolates. The remaining energy was at the peak void inquiry stage. Night Sorrow's left hand, which was as sharp as a divine weapon, flipped over and grabbed Bai Tiangu's sword. He completely ignored the sword energy from Bai Tiangu's scabbard. Grabbing Bai Tiangu's longsword with his left hand, Night Sorrow thrust the reincarnation spear in his right hand towards Bai Tiangu's chest. Bai Tiangu stretched out his left hand and caught Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear with 2 fingers. This was his ultimate move, the Northern Sky Sword Finger. Love go little say ku at this moment, both of their weapons were controlled by the other. Night Sorrow's right leg flew up and kicked towards Bai Tiangu's abdomen. At the same time, he used spatial rend again. CM #positive %version E, chapter unspecified currency section, _ on 6Q, stop. A very powerful protective chi shield appeared on Bai Tiangu's body, blocking Night Sorrow's attack. He also let go of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Night Sorrow also let go of Bai Tiangu's sheathed longsword and retreated. As he retreated, he put away the Shantian tower that had just appeared behind him. He was somewhat unwilling. He wanted to fight with all his strength to see just how strong he was. However, Bai Tiangu had stopped fighting. Are you still relying on your high cultivation to bully others? Let me tell you, don't bully a young man because he's poor, Tai Shu Yan said as she clapped her hands. Be reasonable. Can't you see who's bullying who? Lord Golden Phoenix, is this your disciple? Bai Tiangu asked. No, he's my relative. How is he? Not bad, right? Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Not bad. After entering the venerable realm, he's a 100% invincible venerable seedling. He's very young, about 20 years old. Bai Tiangu said as he carried the long sword on his back. He's just 20 years old. This is the future leader of our Tianji Tower. Brother Bai Tiangu, please get to know him first. Lin Yuandao said with a smile. He was very happy to see Night Sorrow's combat power. In addition, he guessed that Night Sorrow still had a trump card. Very powerful. I've lost a lot of face today. However, no matter who it was, they would lose face. That treasure just now was the face of the Qingtian region, right? Isn't it rumored to be with Lord Golden Phoenix? Bei Tiange looked at Wu Lingfei and said. No, it's Knight Sorrow who got the approval of the Pagoda of Time and Space. He borrowed it for a while, Wu Lingfei said. This is Sword Venerable Bei Tian of the North Sea region. He's an invincible venerable. When there's time, Knight Sorrow can ask him for advice. We're all from Tianji Tower, so I won't wear a mask and delay drinking, Lin Yuandao said. Knight Sorrow, you have to thank Sword Venerable Bei Tian for his advice. Set up a bar. Wu Lingfei also took off her veil. Now that she was dealing with things, most of the time it was her own people. It was not appropriate to wear a veil all the time. Knight Sorrow took out the wine and poured a bowl for everyone. Kid, don't look down on me just because you took advantage of me. I'm best at soul sword techniques. That's a fatal move. After drinking a bowl of wine, Bei Tiange glanced at Knight Sorrow and said. Actually, I'm also good at soul attacks, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. It's true that I'm good at soul attacks. As long as your soul power is weak, you'll be killed instantly in front of me. You're strong, but you can't brag, Bei Tiange glanced at Knight Sorrow and said. Sword Venerable Bei Tian, everyone at your level knows that your soul attack is strong. I don't know how good Knight Sorrow's soul attack is, but he has defense, Lin Yuandao said. Wu Lingfei didn't want to expose Knight Sorrow's trump card, but Lin Yuandao also had a reason. He wanted to let Bei Tiange know the strength of Tianji Tower's younger generation. Only then would he truly be loyal. Then I won't have any sense of superiority. All right. The wine is good. Bei Tiange shook his head and said. After drinking, Tai Shuyan and Bei Tiange went to the camp. First, Tai Shuyan introduced Sword Venerable Bei Tian to everyone. It was important to get familiar with each other in battle. Knight Sorrow, your strength has improved. Not only has your cultivation improved, but your combat strength has also improved, Wu Lingfei said. Right, you said you can use soul attacks. Is that a joke? Lin Yuandao looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. This. I know a little. Knight Sorrow was a bit regretful. He had just used his trump card to bicker with Bei Tiange. You're really something. Next, you'll have to cultivate well. Although everything about you is good, I'm still worried. You're really working hard, Lin Yuandao said. Senior brother Lin, Knight Sorrow is actually the most reassuring. Although he likes to take risks, he still knows what's important and has never disappointed us. It's just us who are nervous, Wu Lingfei said. All right. I'm really happy. It's very difficult for Knight Sorrow to kill a venerable. He can't stop a venerable if he wants to run away, but it's also impossible for a beginner venerable to kill Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow has many treasures and unique skills, Lin Yuandao said with a smile. Knight Sorrow, you still have to cultivate your bloodline talent. That's a big killing move. The suppression of space attribute over ordinary attributes is something no one can break, Wu Lingfei looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Desolate stones. We have to do our best to get desolate stones. Knight Sorrow also needs to cultivate his desolate hand, Lin Yuandao said. Desolate stones are too difficult to get. Even if we have to pay a high price, it still depends on luck. Let nature take its course. Wu Lingfei said. Chapter 564. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao went to meditate and cultivate. Knight Sorrow also began to meditate and cultivate, improving his bloodline power and soul power in all aspects. The soul extinguishing/easily killed Grey Gull, which let Knight Sorrow know the power of the soul extinguishing/. The power of the soul extinguishing/ would also increase as his soul power improved. Night Sorrow also understood that the soul-extinguishing slash was not invincible. If the opponent's soul power was strong, then the soul power could resist the soul-extinguishing slash. In front of the camp of the Realm Sea, after Tai Shu Yan introduced Bei Tian Gu to everyone, the venerables of the eastern and northern Xian domains were in high spirits, especially the venerables of the northern Xian domain. They all knew Bei Tian Ge's fame as the Northern Sky Sword Venerable. He was a true invincible venerable who had killed many venerables. The momentum is not bad. There is no oppressive aura before a big battle. It is rare to see such a high fighting spirit. Bei Tian Gu said after arriving at Tai Shu Yan's tent. Because of our confidence, we fought with the Qingtian region twice and gained the upper hand. The first time was in the battlefield of the eastern Xian region, where Lord Wu Kei killed many venerables. A few days ago, we killed them again. We suffered some losses, but the Qingtian region's losses were heavier. Tai Shu Yan said. The eastern Xian region and Tianji Tower are indeed powerful. Lord Wu Kei used to be an invincible venerable. Now that she has entered the Saint Realm, she is even more amazing. Even the veteran saints can't compete with her. Therefore, it is very difficult for the Qingtian region to achieve anything. Bei Tian Gu said. The Qingtian region has always been arrogant. They have always regarded themselves as the overlord of the 9 domains. That is because they have not provoked any ruthless people. This time, they have provoked Lord Wu Kei and the eastern Xian region. Consider them unlucky. Tai Shu Yan said. The eastern Xian region's momentum is extraordinary. However, our northern Sea region is also eating fat meat under the leadership of City Lord Tai Shu. Bei Tian Gu said. Why do I feel awkward listening to your words? Did I, Tai Shu Yan, let your Bei Tian clan eat bones? Or did I make your Bei Tian clan angry? Tai Shu Yan looked at Bei Tian Gu with dissatisfaction. I'm not joking. I'm being serious. This is an era of chaos. If we make the right choice, our northern Sea region will rise to power. The rise of the eastern Xian region will be unstoppable. That young man today is indeed powerful. He will be extraordinary in the future. At the very least, he will be an invincible venerable. Bei Tiange said. Hearing about it and actually experiencing it was completely different. Today, Bei Tiange had experienced how heaven-defying Night Sorrow was. He's from the eastern Xian region, and he's also a Tianji Tower Celestial Extremity Envoy. He's only 20 years old, and he doesn't lack resources. The eastern Xian region and Tianji Tower will do their best to nurture him, so it's certain that he'll rise quickly. How many years would it take for a very young invincible warrior to travel unhindered? This period of time is the time for the eastern Xian region and Tianji Tower to develop, Tai Shu Yan said. So it's right for City Lord to ally with the eastern Xian region. It's mainly because of the relationship with the Tianji Tower. City Lord, your position as the deputy chief of Tianji Tower is not fake, Bei Tian Gu said. I believe in Lord Wu Quebec. The eastern Xian region is different from the Qingtian region. The Qingtian region is too shameless, so we have to beat them, Tai Shu Yan said as she brewed a pot of tea. Night Sorrow stabilized his cultivation base for a few days. After his true Qi cultivation base was completely stabilized, he went all out to improve his cultivation base at full speed. It's really strange that there's no movement from the Qingtian region, Wu Lingfei said after another cultivation session. They're shameless, but they're not stupid. They must know that Bei Tiangu is coming, so they won't attack if they're not sure, Lin Yuandao said. Then we'll wait. If they don't come, we'll cultivate. The longer we delay, the better it will be for us, Wu Lingfei said. For Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao, time meant cultivation base. Lin Yuandao was the chief of Tianji Tower, so he didn't lack resources. Wu Lingfei's resources were even more abundant, and the Crystal of Life was the most suitable cultivation resource for her. The Crystal of Life was transformed from the cultivation of the fallen life saintess in the death space. Under the premise of the same attribute, Wu Lingfei's cultivation was twice the result with half the effort. It could be said that she could quickly improve her cultivation base by absorbing and refining the energy of the crystal of life. In addition, Guo took the fire attribute origin stone to cultivate. If there was enough time, there would be a chance for a saint to appear in the Tianji Tower. Even if they didn't break through, they would be at least a half-step saint, which would crush the venerables of the Qingtian region. Let's eat. Night Sorrow shouted to Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei. Today, Night Sorrow was roasting the gazelles caught by Tianyu. With the intention of cultivating here for a long time, Night Sorrow released Tianyu and Silver Fox from the beast taming space. This way, the two beasts would grow faster. Night Sorrow, you're good at everything. You're also first class at roasting prey, Lin Yuandao said. I used to be the best hunter in our village. Sometimes, I had to hunt for several days to solve the problem of food and clothing. That's how I developed my skills, Night Sorrow said as he cut the roast meat. The best hunter? You were still very young at that time. Lin Yuandao took the roast meat that Night Sorrow handed over and asked. I started hunting with the villagers when I was 13 years old. When I was 15 years old, I got the most prey every time I went hunting. That was also the year I came out of the mountains and entered the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow was a little emotional. After a few years, everything had changed. The villagers of Zhuyuan village no longer had to worry about being eaten by beasts. They all lived a good life. A few years. These few years are really extraordinary, Lin Yuandao said as he drank and ate the roast meat. After eating, Night Sorrow played with Tianyu and Silver Fox for a while. Then, he continued to cultivate his spear art and his realm. Junior Sister Wu, do you think this guy doesn't know what fatigue is? Isn't he bored? Lin Yuandao asked as he looked at Night Sorrow who was cultivating. Only genuine N, all other N equals yes asterisk 2 pirated version square root V, look at his expression. He is completely enjoying himself. He treats cultivation as a form of enjoyment. How can he feel tired and bored? Wu Lingfei was also very impressed with Night Sorrow's state. After cultivating his spear art for a while, Night Sorrow returned to his tent and started cultivating with the black tortoise spirit crystal. The space-time pagoda could help Night Sorrow cultivate his soul power, true qi cultivation, and bloodline power. However, it couldn't help with the cultivation of the myriad Dao Tome. Therefore, Night Sorrow had to use the black tortoise spirit crystal. At this time, many people were sitting in the command tent of the Qingtian region's Donghua city camp. There were people from the Qingtian region city lord mansion, people from the major clans of the Qingtian region, and people from the other subordinate forces of the Sanyuan region and the Weiming region. City Lord, the Sikong clan's response is that the clan master and Venerable Lu Yun are in seclusion and can't participate in this region war at the moment, a venerable in a grey robe said to Jiyu Fenglan, who looked very upset. This is an excuse. What does the Sikong clan want to do? Are they not willing to contribute to the Qingtian region? Jiyu Fenglan, who was sitting in the main seat, slammed the table and growled. Give them an ultimatum. If the Sikong clan doesn't participate in the war, we will destroy them first, a man with a sinister look said. Chapter 565. Genius 1 second remember love go divided by Shao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's not appropriate. It'll be counterproductive, said an elder of the Qingtian city lord mansion. Do you have a good idea, Elder Feng? Wudi looked at the elder and asked. The Sikong family is a top family in the Qingtian region. What are you trying to do? Feng Yuanjia looked at Wu Di and said. In the Qingtian region, the Sikong family wasn't as powerful as the Ji family, but it was still a top family and had friendly relations with the Feng family, which Feng Yuanjia belonged to. Wudi's attitude made him very unhappy. If they can't contribute to the war, what's the point of keeping them? Jiyu Yuanhang said. When we go to war, it's up to them. When we went to war in the 3 Yuan region, Venerable Lu Yun said that the Sikong family wasn't interested in the war. However, if the Qingtian region is attacked, the Sikong family will definitely fight. Isn't that attitude enough? Now that you want to attack the Sikong family, can I see it as you trying to get rid of the dissidents? Feng Yuanjia stood up angrily. Elder Feng, you think too much. Sit down and let's talk. Jiyu Fenglan glanced at the others and gestured with his arm. Jiyu Fenglan was angry, but he couldn't do anything because many elders of the city lord mansion had stood up just now. Obviously, they were very unhappy with Jiyu Yuanheng's attitude. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. Xiaoan the Sikong family was very famous in the Qingtian region. When Jiyu Yuanheng said that he wanted to get rid of the Sikong family, the people were angry. In the end, they came to the conclusion that they would continue to unite with other forces and look for other top venerables. The first one they would look for was Venerable Wu Hen, Shui Wuling. They didn't have the strength to take down the eastern Xian region and the northern Xi region, so the Qingtian region would have to wait. After that, the others left the tent. Jiyu Fenglan asked Jiyu Yuanheng to stay. The Sikong family can't be left alive, but sometimes it depends on the situation. It's not appropriate to mention the situation just now. Jiyu Fenglan waved his hand and set up a defensive shield to isolate sound and detection, then looked at Jiyu Yuanheng and said. Yuanheng heard Wu Di's suggestion, so he added fuel to the fire, said Yuanheng. Wu Di is indeed powerful, but his fame, reputation, and influence are not that great. His opinion is just for show. In the future, we still need to pay more attention to those elders in the city. You go and make the arrangements. Set fire to our family's base in Bailing City, and kill a few outer members. You know what to do. Jiyu Fenglan said to Jiyu Yuanheng. I'm going to update 4 soon. Jiyu Fenglan felt that now was the best time to strike at the Sikong family. The base of Jiyu family in Bailing City was destroyed. Naturally, the Sikong family would be blamed for that. That would be a reason for a dispute. After pausing briefly, Jiyu and Yuanheng went to make the arrangements. Watching Jiyu Yuanheng leave, Jiyu Fenglan sighed. Right now, he was feeling sad. His path of cultivation was cut off, and his body was severely injured by Wu Lingfei. It would be very difficult for him to recover, and it could be said that he had no chance at all. Since he couldn't achieve anything himself, Jiyu Fenglan focused all his energy on developing his family's power. This war between the Qingtian domain and the Eastern Xian domain was not only a domain war for Jiyu Fenglan, but also an opportunity to expand his family's power. Jiyu family's development in the Qingtian domain had reached a bottleneck. If they wanted to develop, they needed some extraordinary strategies. Now, Jiyu Fenglan's plan was to weaken the Sikong family's power first. The Sikong family knew that this was an extraordinary period, so they didn't want to get involved in this. Sikong Tianding's strategy was to seek stability and get through this extraordinary period safely. As for the Jiyu family's attack with force, Sikong Tianding wasn't afraid. Even if the Jiyu family could defeat the Sikong family, they would lose their reputation in the Qingtian domain. By then, all the families and sects in the Qingtian domain would reject the Jiyu family, which would make the development of the Jiyu family more difficult. Besides, the Sikong family also had the ability to inflict heavy losses on the Jiyu family. Although the ancestor of the Sikong family wasn't a saint or an invincible venerable, the strength of a peak venerable was something that everyone had to consider. Knight Sorrow had a very comfortable time every day. When he wasn't cultivating, he would go to the realm's sea to catch a few fish and make them into grilled fish to go with wine. This made Lin Yuandao speechless. At present, only cultivators below the 5th level and saints could enter the realm's sea at will. However, Knight Sorrow had broken this common sense. In addition, as time passed, more and more experts gathered in West Sea City, suppressing the Qingtian domain's forces in terms of strength. Tianji Tower's network was very wide. The branches of the 9 domains had some communication with some rogue cultivators, so it was normal to invite them to participate in the war. It could be said that if Tianji Tower wanted a real war, they could use all their trump cards to sweep the Qingtian domain. Of course, they had to eliminate the factor of Gu Haitian. Auntie Faye, you are a saint, and so is the Chief Tower Master. If Chief Supervisor Gua and Elderly enter the Saint Realm, will we be able to solve the problem at the root? Night Sorrow asked. No, we can defeat Gu Haitian, but if he wants to run away, it will be difficult to kill him. If we can't kill him, he will be a big hidden danger. It's very difficult to suppress the crazy revenge of a saint, Wu Lingfei said. She knew very well what Night Sorrow meant. We have to be absolutely sure that we can do this. Otherwise, the consequences will be very serious, Lin Yuandao said. Night Sorrow nodded and didn't say anything else. He understood Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao's worries. If a saint went crazy without any worries, other than saints who could resist him, the others would be killed. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow returned to his tent to cultivate. There were some things that he wanted to help with, but he was powerless and helpless. We can think about Night Sorrow's words. If we use the sky amplification disk array, we still have a chance, Lin Yuandao said. If we don't have more than 70% confidence, don't touch him. We want stability. The longer we drag it out, the better it will be for us. Therefore, there is no need to consider radical methods, Wu Lingfei said. Wu Lingfei knew her own situation. With the help of the life crystal, Wu Lingfei's strength had improved very quickly. In terms of personal combat strength, it was only a matter of time before she surpassed Gu Haitian. Therefore, Wu Lingfei wasn't in a hurry. She just wanted to stabilize the situation. While the two of them were talking, Tai Xian and Hua Haining came over. Hua Haining had received some news that the Qing Tian region had found another invincible venerable, who was an emperor of the Tianfeng dynasty of the Taiqing region. There was also another piece of news. Something had happened in Bailing City, which was controlled by the Sikong family. Jiyu family had burned down their stronghold. This was very vicious, but the Sikong family had a way to deal with it. The Sikong family caught a group of bandits on the same day and beheaded them in public for causing trouble in Bailing City. They also emphasized that the bandits had attacked Jiyu family's stronghold. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.